I got your comments here, so I'm keeping an eye on everything. Wade's asking any hail in the one moving towards Johnson City. Yes, so Johnson City at this point not included in that severe thunderstorm warning, at least not yet. Let's watch it though, okay? But there is, it doesn't look as impressive. The one that's coming in out of southwestern Gillespie County doesn't look as impressive in the radar as it did a few minutes ago. So probably not super big hail at this point. That's always good news. I'll tell you what though, this thunderstorm that's moving into Llano, it's a mean looking storm. I'm going to pause this for you, and what's catching my eye, a couple of things. So notice we got a little bit of white there. That is the radar, not just pinging off heavy rainfall, but hailstones. Now, these hailstones can be lofted above the surface, right, that are quite large, and as they make them way down towards the surface, they can melt. But quarter-size hail is certainly a possibility there. I should also mention that included in this severe thunderstorm warning is not just the community of Llano, but Buchanan. Lake Buchanan is included in this, and you may even have a Burnett mailing address if you live just a couple of miles to the south or west of Burnett proper, right? Probably we'll see this warning extended even more to the east over the next several minutes. So Heathers and Hutto, you're good right now. I'm thinking probably for you, probably during the 5 a.m. hour, we really got to watch this. If not, maybe a little bit earlier, but this is all to the west. Let me just give you your bearing straight, everybody, because I know I got a lot of you watching from outside of the hill country. These are two supercell thunderstorms. These are the storms that we were afraid of that would happen when we were talking about yesterday's afternoon and last night's update, that ahead of the squall line, which is still out in West Texas, we'd get these supercell thunderstorms that can rotate and produce all modes of severe weather, damaging winds, hail, and possibility of tornadoes. Thankfully, there are no tornado warnings right now, but those are the two supercells that we got to watch as they move off towards the east, okay? What we would love to see, and it's possible it could happen, but what we would love to see is that the rotation isn't as intense and they go a little bit more to the northeast and they kind of miss the most populated part of the area. That being said, it's still impacting our friends out west, and that's why we're here on Facebook Live at 3:56 to keep you updated, and we'll be on for the duration of it moving on in. Hunter, you want to talk a little bit? I'm going to turn on your microphone and pop up your radar. You should be good.
Cool. So I think we'll touch base again on this severe thunderstorm heading into Llano now. As Albert talked about, you see this white shading right here. That's some very high reflectivity, so we'll be watching out for some hail there in that area just north of Castle. Let's go back to the velocity, because as Albert was saying, this is a severe thunderstorm warning. So first and foremost, we're going to be watching out for gusty straight line winds and hail that could be upwards of quarter size. But we've also been watching some broad rotation in this storm. Looks like we just got in another scan too. So we'll switch this over to the velocity and see what's going on. And there you can see it. Now, the way, or at least the perspective that we're looking at this storm, we're kind of a ways from the radar. So we do see some broad rotation here. In fact, I'll kind of outline this with the cursor. Some broad rotation, but understand we're looking thousands of feet up into the storm. So the National Weather Service has not seen anything tight enough or low enough that they want to issue the tornado warning on that. But still, this storm could be producing some very gusty straight line winds that we'll be keeping an eye out for. So that's the storm moving into Llano, and then this was actually the first severe warned storm that we had moving in when we started this Facebook Live. So that's stretching from Kerrville up to Fredericksburg. So this severe thunderstorm warning for a big portion of Gillespie County. And we'll put on some of the data here. That's going to go until 4:30 a.m., includes the cities of Fredericksburg, Ingram, Kerrville, and Stonewall. And this is going to be another storm where hail could be upwards of quarter size, and you could also get some straight line wind gusts that could potentially exceed 60 miles per hour. Not seeing the same, I mean, it's broad in the other storm, but not really tracking much in the way of rotation at this point with this storm. Let's turn on the lightning, though, and that's another thing. Aside from, you know, the hail and the gusty winds, these storms producing tons of lightning. As we turn that on, you can see just how many strikes we're talking about, especially this storm that's moving into Llano. So that's going to be a light show. as that heads into town. Again, north of Enchanted Rock up into Llano. In fact, we'll put on the hourly loop, and you can see the way that this is moving. And one thing that we've seen with some of these storms, especially that one that Albert was talking about earlier, moved through the Del Rio area, these will periodically take that right-hand hook and take kind of a due east component of motion. As you look at the scans now, this one's more of a northeast mover. But if you're watching us from Llano, again, a heads up, this storm is it's probably going to be moving in here within the next 5 to 15 minutes. So if you're watching this, of course, you're aware of this warning. But just a good idea to be inside, and if you want to be safe in interior rooms, probably a good place to be as this storm's moving in. Now let's touch base on the lone tornado warning that we have across the state of Texas right now. Just wanted to back out and make sure. That's this storm. This is not in the KVUE viewing area, but Albert touched on this earlier. That includes the city of Melvin there. So this is for Concho and McCulloch counties, including Melvin. Big hail core there too, north of the circulation. Let's go to the velocity here, and this is going to show a much tighter couplet than what we were seeing with the storm that was moving into Llano, which is why this is the tornado warned storm, and the previous warning is just the severe thunderstorm with the phrase tornado possible in there. So there's a look at that couplet. Back to the reflectivity though, and we'll get you back into central Texas now. This is really the storm that we've been watching, this one that's moving into Llano. So again, if you're watching us from Llano, heads up, heavy rain, you're going to notice that for sure, tons of lightning, and then hail that could be upwards of quarter size. That's what they're saying in the National Weather Service chat, and the potential for straight line wind gusts that could be up to about 60 miles per hour. And again, we'll be watching at least the potential, keeping an eye, no indications of an imminent tornado, but at times this has shown some broader rotation. So it's a question of could that translate maybe a little bit closer down to the ground, and then we'd be watching out for that. Worth saying, we also have the tornado watch. Of course, this was kind of reorganized earlier, and that includes all of central Texas except for Fayette County. That's going to go until 8 a.m. And while we're talking about the hill country now, if you're watching us from Georgetown, Round Rock, Austin, these areas along the 35 corridor, again, it's going to be a couple of hours, but eventually these storms are going to hold together. And I think as we get closer to 5 and especially 6 a.m., these storms will be moving closer to the 35 corridor as they progress eastward. So again, here in central Texas, we have the 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, one including Fredericksburg, the other including Llano. No tornado warnings, but tracking the one north of the KVUE area.
All right, Hunter, thank you so much. We'll check in with you again. Holler if you have anything new. So we've been on for a little bit. Let's take a look at the latest forecast models. Brand new one just came out. One that's done a really decent job the last few hours is this one. It's the HRRR, the High Resolution Rapid Refresh, showing at 4 a.m. intense thunderstorms, Mason, Llano County. We like to see that. At least we like to see the data matching up with what's happening with reality, right? Intense thunderstorms in Gillespie County. This updates every hour, right? So watch what it wants to do at 5 a.m. Look at this, Hunter. We got some big thunderstorms, according to this forecast model, at 5 a.m. moving into Austin. So I feel like during the 5 o'clock hour, it may not be right at 5 o'clock. Let's give or take 30 minutes as that comes in. But here in Austin, if you're watching us from Williamson County to Travis County to Hayes County, let's be on our guard in the next hour as the severe weather threat will go up. Okay, that's why we're under that tornado watch, as Hunter was mentioning. So let's go to 6 a.m. and it'll be 6 a.m. that we could still have intense thunderstorms capable of producing all modes of severe weather, hail, damaging winds, isolated tornadoes, moving off towards the east, the interstate, still in the metro, but your severe weather risk in Bastrop, in Milam, in Caldwell, in Lee County starts to go up in the 6 o'clock hour. There's a look at 7 o'clock showing those thunderstorms in eastern counties, maybe some lingering rain in Austin, but by 7 o'clock this morning, our severe weather risk in Austin will decrease. And then as we head towards 8 o'clock, this is when that tornado watch will expire. And I think the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service doing a really good job on this. Forecast model showing this exits our area by 8 a.m. and the rest of your Easter Sunday will be A-OK. So if you're just now waking up, joining us, we're tracking 2 severe thunderstorms right now. They are both supercell thunderstorms, meaning that they are intense severe storms. The 2 issues with both of them large hail and damaging winds, in particular the one up here in Llano County. I was just looking at the Llano County thunderstorm and the lightning with it. So anything in that red box is showing you the cloud-to-ground lightning strike. So this isn't even picking up on the intra-cloud or the cloud-to-cloud lightning, just the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. And it's a 847 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes in just the last 15 minutes. One thing, if you've watched my Facebook Lives, one thing I like to do is keep an eye on the lightning because an uptick in lightning tells us within this thunderstorm you have a strong updraft, you have strong upward motion, meaning that the thunderstorm is still getting stronger. If you start to see the lightning counts decrease, the storm is getting weaker. So notice how just in the last 20 seconds we talked about it, the lightning count has gone up just a bit. So let's get you updated on the warnings. And you saw the timeline there. These thunderstorms getting close to the metro in the next hour here during the 5 a.m. hour. Jessica's asking, will the Llano storm, this one, probably track north of the Marble Falls Spicewood area? Oh, okay. We got a tornado warning now. I'm going to get ready to get on TV. Hunter, why don't you talk for a quick second?
Yep. Okay, so this is going to be the new tornado warning. It's for this Llano storm. In fact, we will pull up the auto warn here so you can get the latest on that. This is going to go until 4:30 a.m. this morning for Llano County, and this does include the city of Llano. It also includes Buchanan Dam. So let's go to the velocity. Clearly, the National Weather Service has decided that it has tightened up a little bit. And we'll switch to this and we'll show you the couplet. So now this is a tornado warning again. So no longer just the severe thunderstorm warning. So you need to be sheltered in an interior room if you are watching us from Llano County. And here's a look at the velocity here. We'll actually switch right here.
Oh, hold on one second. Hunter, can you put on a knife? Or you already got it in?
I think it's not turned on.
Hunter's got...
Now I'm good to go. What was that?
Yeah, I think it's all the same channel. Okay. Okay, thank you. He's gonna, I don't have an IFB, so if you can count me in.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, everybody, hold on a second, Hunter. Okay, everybody, we're gonna jump on TV because we want our entire audience to know what's going on here, but as we get ready to jump on the TV side, oh, I'm so sorry, everybody. I had my mic off that entire time. So what we're doing is we're getting ready to jump on TV. But there's a look at the velocity scan of this potential tornado. There you see the rotation right along Texas 29, less than 5 miles to the due west of Llano. This is moving to the east at about 55 miles per hour. So it is 4:07. If you have a friend or family member that may be impacted by this storm in Llano County and they may be asleep, shoot them a text, give them a call, let them know what's headed their way, especially if they live in Llano proper, because this rotation again is right along Texas 29. Along with the tornado threat, there is also damaging wind and a hail threat with this thunderstorm. Let's take a look at one of our products here. This is a kind of a debris detector, what we call correlation coefficient. I'm not seeing any evidence of debris being lofted within the thunderstorm, so that's always good. But what is not good is that we have this rotation here in the thunderstorm that is just, I would say less than about 9 miles to the due west of Llano here along Texas 29. So if you are in Llano County, Llano, western sections, western shores of Lake Buchanan, we want to get you into a safe place, meaning you want to be on the first floor if you live in a 2-story home, and you want to be in a center room without windows, without a whole lot of walls let me start that over. Center room, first floor, as many walls between you and the outside. Okay, so it's going to be a bathroom, a closet, or a pantry. That's going to be a place that you want to head on into right now. And this is moving into Llano right now. The rain is really ramped up in the last several minutes. The lightning strikes have really ramped up as well. Do you mind posting that on my Twitter too if you get a chance? And this thunderstorm is moving off to the east at 55 miles per hour. So let me get the statistics here. There you see it. Let's put a storm track on this with it moving to the east at 55. And we'll show you kind of where the leading edge of the storm is. And we want to put burn it in that storm track. Moving into Llano right now, rotation lagging behind just a bit. Buchanan Dam at 423 and the city of Burnett at 437. So that's why we jumped on several minutes ago, because this is what we were afraid of, that these isolated supercells. All right, everybody. Hi, good morning. It is 4:09. You're watching KVUE. I'm Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon alongside Hunter Williams. Jumping on this early morning at 4:09 to get you updated on severe weather that is now impacting the hill country. I do want to make this note. If you are in the path of these thunderstorms and you do find yourself and you lost power, we are streaming right now on all of our digital platforms, the KVUE News app, KVUE.com. We should be on YouTube. I know we're on Twitter and Facebook Live. So if you're watching us here on the TV side, we got you covered on the digital side as well. We have two supercell thunderstorms that we are tracking right now, both of which are showing signs of rotation. But the one that has really caught our eye this morning is the one in Llano County. This is a tornado warning in effect for Llano County until 4:30. It does include Buchanan Dam and the community of Llano. The thunderstorm, the severe storm moving into Llano now, moving off to the east at 55 miles per hour. I'm going to show you Doppler winds. This gives us an idea of where the tight rotation is. And whenever you see red meeting these brighter colors, this is where we have the rotation, about 8 or 9 miles due west of Llano, right there along Texas 29, kind of right along that highway. No one should be on Texas 29 right now between Mason and Llano as this thunderstorm is moving off towards the east. So we're going to do a storm track on this rotation with it moving off to the east at about 55 miles per hour. The most tight rotation where the tornado could possibly be will be over Llano in 4 minutes. If you are in Llano, it is time to get to a safe place right now. Don't go outside. Don't look outside the window. You got to get to that safe place. If you live in a 2-story home, it'll be the first floor, and it has to be a room with no windows. The center of the house as possible. Pantry, closet, bathroom, as long as that bathroom doesn't have windows. Garage is a bad idea. That garage door is weak. I know it's a room that doesn't have windows, but you got to be center of the house, okay? No mobile homes. Again, this is moving off to the east at 55 miles per hour, capable of producing a tornado right now. There are signs on Doppler radar, intense winds wrapping around in this thunderstorm. I'm going to take a peek at our debris detector, see if we have any debris being detected by radar, and we don't. And it'd be very hard to see that this far out from the radar side. But there's a look at the severe storm capable of producing a tornado moving through Llano County. Buchanan Dam, the community of Burnett, and points northward up towards Lampasas along 281. You have to be on the lookout for this one as well. We'll come back to this tornado warning in just a second. The other severe storm that we're tracking this morning is this one in Gillespie County, this one approaching Fredericksburg. This one moving off towards the east at 45 miles per hour and capable of producing damaging winds as well as large hail. We have seen, at least a little bit earlier, some rotation with this thunderstorm. It's not as tight as the one that we see in Mason. It's a very broad rotation. Broad rotation's okay. We'll take that all day. It's the tight rotation, like you saw in the Llano County storm, that we have to keep an eye on very closely. So let me give you a broad perspective. I know a lot of you may be watching outside of the hill country and wondering, are these storms headed towards the metro or counties east of the interstate? And the answer is yes. We do have these isolated, intense supercell thunderstorms, really only about 2 of them right now, Llano into Gillespie County, that are moving off towards the east. The one in Llano County moving to the east at 55 miles per hour. The one in Gillespie County moving to the east, east-northeast even, at about 45 miles per hour. So we put some of these thunderstorms in the Austin metro at the top of the hour during the 5 a.m. hour. That's why we're going to hang out with you both on the digital side streaming and here on TV for a bit. So let's get back into this thunderstorm. A tremendous amount of lightning within this thunderstorm. I'll show you how many cloud ground lightning strikes are with this tornadic storm. Now 941 cloud ground lightning strikes. That is up from about 10 minutes ago. And an increase in lightning strikes is an indication that this thunderstorm continues to strengthen. Let's go back to velocity. Oof, that is a bad signature on Doppler radar, showing tight rotation. I would say 4 miles, if not less. Let me show you from downtown Llano. Yeah, 6 miles. That's it. 6 miles to the due west of Llano, and this storm is moving right into Llano. If you know someone who lives in Llano, it is 4:14. A lot of people are asleep, but if you have a family member, a friend, an acquaintance, give them a call. Bypass the whole text message stuff. Wake them up and tell them that this situation is going on and that they have to get to the safe spot. Serious situation. That's why we're on TV and streaming live right now, because we do have enough evidence that this thunderstorm is rotating. I'm going to check on the debris detector. We still don't have anything there. That's good. But this is an intense thunderstorm coming on in. I'm sure your friend or family member, unless they are a heavy sleeper, has already been woken up by the intense rainfall falling outside and on their roof, as well as the cloud around lightning. This is a situation that you would not be able to see a tornado. It's going to be rain wrapped. So notice all of this is rain, but the most intense rotation is embedded in all of that rainfall. So I'm going to take a look at a couple of different radar sites. That's a look, that's from New Braunfels. It looks like the one out of Granger in Williamson County. That radar is detecting this better than the one in New Braunfels. So we'll stick with that one, and I'll back this up just so you can kind of see how this thunderstorm has been ramping up. And there's a look at the latest scan, and the latest scan is positive news in that we don't have as tight rotation as we did just a few minutes ago. This may be transitioning from a tornado to maybe damaging winds. So you see these intense winds right here in the turquoise color. Very, very intense winds. Let's get a query on some of these pixels here. And this is showing 78 mile, maybe 91 mile per hour winds aloft, a few thousand feet up. So you could easily have 70 to 75 mile per hour winds mixing down at the surface. So the tornado warning does continue. That latest scan, good news, where it's not as tight. But what you can see with these thunderstorms is that they can be tight and then they weaken a bit, but you still get this rear flank downdraft, these downdraft winds, these intense winds coming out of it, and then it can wrap up once again. So we're not going to say you're all clear. This tornado warning does continue for the next at least 14 minutes as it's moving off towards the east. The other severe thunderstorm, because we just want to make sure we're keeping an eye on everything today, because everything has at least the potential to rotate and spin up a tornado. The thunderstorm here in Gillespie County, the rotation is not there right now. We're going to keep an eye on it, though. We've got a little bit of a notch going on, a little inflow. Let me show you with the arrows. We've got warm, humid air coming in like that, and you got some cool downdrafts coming in like that. So broad rotation with this particular thunderstorm. We got to watch that. And then even this thunderstorm that has really just popped up and moved over Harper, that's an intense thunderstorm there. We'll turn on hail tracker, some small hail possible with both those thunderstorms. But Gillespie County and at least a sliver of far western Blanco County under severe thunderstorm warning until 4:30. So we'll be watching this thunderstorm as it moves off towards the east, really even east-northeast. It looks like because the rotation's not as strong, it's a little bit more of a northerly jog. So this one actually may stay to the north of Austin, but Marble Falls, will watch that one for you. Kingsland will watch that one for you as well. The most intense thunderstorm in the viewing area right now is in Llano County, where that tornado warning that continues. Let's just see if we got a new scan on velocity, Doppler winds, and not just yet. Radar beam is still analyzing the higher top of this thunderstorm, but intense winds. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if there are wind gusts here at the split, the 71-29 split, a couple of miles off towards the west of Llano, producing wind gusts of 70 to 75 miles per hour. Okay, so maybe the tornado threat is going down, but you get wind gusts above 60 in the 70-mile-per-hour range, that can cause just as much damage as a weak tornado. So folks in Llano, stay sheltered in place, stay in your safe spot, a room with no windows, and you're going to be good to go. And I'll let you know when you can come out and continue your night in bed and not in that closet or that pantry or that bathroom. Okay, so let's show you the forecast model, what's going to happen for the rest of the morning. This is a look at the latest forecast model, and I think it's doing a really good job. And what it's been hinting at is that by 5 a.m., the severe weather risk will increase for the metro. So within 45 minutes to an hour into the 5 a.m. hour, our tornado threat will increase Williamson, Travis, Hays County. So I know a lot of you are watching either here on TV or on digital wondering about the city of Austin. What about Kyle? What about Buda? What about Georgetown? We really got to be weather aware, know what's headed our way as we head into the 5 a.m. hour. This is just a simulation. This isn't set in stone. We showed you these forecast models yesterday and today. Some were a little fast, some were a little slow. This was a slow-moving system. That's why it's just now kind of creeping on in. But let's be weather aware, 5 a.m. for the metro. During the 6 a.m. hour, we really have to start increasing our weather awareness for counties east of the interstate: Caldwell, Bastrop, Lee, Milam, and Fayette County. So if you're watching me from those counties, if you want to go get another hour's sleep, go on, and we'll be here for you whenever the rough weather rolls in. But you're still a couple hours away from that. Now, by 7 a.m., it looks like the severe weather threat will be mainly focused east of Austin. Still certainly at 7 a.m. could have some lingering warnings: Milam, Lee, Fayette County, some lingering showers, but probably not much of a severe weather threat at 7 a.m. here in the metro, and definitely not in the hill country. And that tornado watch that we're currently under expires at 8 a.m. And notice what happens at 8 a.m. Bulk of rainfall is out of here. The severe weather threat is out of here, and the rest of our Easter Sunday is going to be just fine. So what we're going to be doing for the next several minutes is just bouncing between Storm A, Storm B. Making sure that everyone knows what's going on. Let's go to Storm A. We'll call this the Llano County storm. It's focused right over Llano. I'm going to take off the lightning so we get a clearer look at it. Let's take a look at the movement over the last hour as it continues to jog off towards maybe not the due east, a little bit of a northerly tick, kind of east-northeast, headed right towards Lake Buchanan. So Lake Buchanan, northern sections of Burnett County into Lampasas County, this thunderstorm is headed in your direction. We'll go back to Doppler winds. Doppler winds showing maybe a little bit of rotation up here, certainly not as tight as it was, but if you're in Llano, the wind is picking up. If you're in Llano and you're watching me on either Facebook or Twitter, holler at me. What are your conditions like right now? There's a look at Doppler winds. Let me just put a query on this. And Doppler winds in the 70-mile-per-hour range above the surface. That's showing near 80. So that's above the surface, mixing down, again, 65 to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts around Llano, even here towards the north side of Llano, around Highway 16, with this thunderstorm moving off towards the east. So let's do a storm track on where the intense winds are and possible rotation still to the north of Llano. Let's do a storm track with this moving off towards the east at about 55 miles per hour. We're kind of doing it a little bit like that. So if you are in Bluffton, our friends in Bluffton, yeah, that thunderstorm moving in 10 minutes or less. Buchanan Dam at 4:33. Burnett, let's get into our safe spot by 4:46, if not before that, next 20 minutes or so. Bertram at 4:56. Briggs at 5:07. And then from there, for western sections of Williamson County, that's when we got to watch this thunderstorm, okay? So Florence, Liberty Hill, Andice, Sun City, you're going to be next up here during the 5 o'clock hour. That's what we're saying, 5 o'clock hour for Metro. Williamson, Travis, Hays County, that's when our severe weather guard has to go up. That's a mean-looking thunderstorm. Let's check in with Hunter Williams. Hunter is on Max 3, John. John's our fantastic director. If you want to pull up Max 3, if that's easy for you to do. If not, I can guide him here on Max 1. But Hunter's on my backup mic, and Hunter, go.
Cool. So we're on Max 3 now, and I want to highlight some of the things that Albert was talking about. The rotation not quite as tight with the storm moving through Llano earlier when it actually prompted the tornado warning. But that does not mean that the damaging straight-line wind threat has diminished. In fact, maybe it's now a wider area that's contending with that. So you see where the cursor is here, stretching from north of Llano. It's now this kind of elongated area where wind gusts could be in excess of 60 miles per hour. And you saw the storm track that Albert put on that earlier, but the rotation not quite as well defined. And we hope that's a longer term trend, but still this is a tornado warning that does continue for the next several minutes. So if you're watching us from Llano, you still need to be sheltered, and we'll treat this still as though it's a tornado warning, which is what we have. Now, backing out the view, that's the first storm. We also have this severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning that includes much of Gillespie County. And it looks like the heaviest rain and the hail core here is going to be just north of Fredericksburg. So if you're watching us from that area, not detecting the same amount of rotation there, which is good news. But again, the straight line wind threat, potentially in excess of 60 miles per hour, is still going to be there with this storm. Now, what I want to do actually is we'll go into the hail tracker here, and you can see where it's picking up on a few little areas of hail there where you see the gray shading. In fact, this is nearly outside of the warning, but some small hail is possible around the Harper area also. Let's keep the hail tracker on, and we'll go back to this storm in Llano. This is the tornado warned storm. And on the loop, you'll see the hail was likely larger as this first moved into the county, but still some hail is possible as this moves through the Llano area. So if you're watching us there, you still need to be sheltered, even though the rotation is a bit broader. This is some pretty strong wind here that's just northeast of Llano. Let's go into the query, and we'll see what some of the Doppler winds are actually detecting as far as the actual numbers here. And I would imagine these could be up close to 70 miles per hour. In fact, that's detecting a 79 mile per hour gust. Of course, this is elevated. This is not at the ground, but could those be translating in excess of 60 or 65 miles per hour down at ground level with this really heavy rain? That is certainly possible. So we'll want to keep a close eye on that.
Yeah, keep going. 47 mile per hour wind gusts reported southwest of Llano, just to get some ground reports.
Yeah, so that's a ground report. What we were looking at was well up in the air, thousands of feet in the air. But now we have wind gusts in excess of 45 miles per hour reported, so ground truth. So that's still well enough to cause some issues. So that's what's moved through the Llano area, and that's going to be moving east of Llano now. In fact, at the tail end of this, or the eastern extent of this tornado warning, that's the Buchanan Dam area. These areas need to be sheltered also as this warning continues. And remember, outside of the tornado warning, and this includes places like Kingsland, that's the severe thunderstorm warning that's still in effect. So back to the velocity, here's where the core of the strongest winds are located. This is north of Llano, where you see these darker blues. And this is the section of the storm that was responsible for that the wind gust observation that we had in Llano in excess of 45 miles per hour, and this could be heading towards the Bluffton area, the Tow area here before too long. So further down the line, these are the areas that need to be sheltered. And again, it's kind of an elongated stretch, so that's going to go down to the south of Llano also. Let's actually back out the view, and we did this earlier, but we'll do an updated storm track on the core of the winds here and see if we can get some updated timing for you guys. So we will highlight this area right here, and this is moving essentially east, close to 55 miles per hour, so we'll line it up like that. So for Bluffton, it's showing around 4:30, so in the next 5 to 10 minutes, this could be moving in. Lake Victor, 451, Briggs, 507, 521 for the Youngsport area. Now, as we start to think a little bit farther down the line, let's do kind of a reset here, and a lot of you have been maybe watching for areas outside of the hill country, places like Austin, maybe Round Rock into Williamson County, where the storms have not yet moved through. But as we head over the next hour plus, we'll likely see these approaching the I-35 corridor. In fact, so you see where the storms are now. Let's shift into future mode here. Remember, now we're looking at a model, so it's not going to be exactly right, but we can play forward the potential. And notice as we get to 5 or 6 a.m., so again, the next 30 minutes to an hour and a half, 2 hours from now, now we're seeing this activity translate along the 35 corridor, and the severe weather potential could continue as this moves eastward. And then as we get closer to 7 or 8, it's shifting for areas east of 35, So maybe places like Cameron, Giddings, or LaGrange. And the good news with this, while we don't want the storms at any point, it's that by the time we get past about sunrise, after 8 a.m., our severe weather threat is going to be ending. Remember, we have the tornado watch for pretty much all of central Texas until 8 a.m. After that, our tornado threat and our severe weather threat will be wrapping up. But this is the storm that we're really focusing on now. It's the storm that moved through the Llano area. We had a wind report confirmed on the ground over 45 miles per hour with this. And although the rotation is not quite as tight as when the warning was prompted, still there's a more elongated or a wider swath now of some winds that could be pretty gusty with this storm. And here's where those winds are located now, northeast of Llano. So where I'm pointing at with the cursor here, right here where you see these brighter blues, those are going to be some of the strongest winds. But even down farther south of the Stoles area, this is still some really gusty winds that could be moving through. We have the confirmed numbers that are upwards of 45, but within the text of the warning, the National Weather Service is saying maybe upwards of 60 or 65 miles per hour. So that would be the high-end potential of what we're tracking. So there's the tornado warned storm. Let's go back to the southern storm. This is the storm that's been moving through Gillespie County. Not detecting the rotation here, but still large hail. This could be upwards a quarter size is possible, and some heavy rain. And both of these storms are producing quite a bit of lightning. I'll turn that on for a second. We're turning it off and on because it can kind of obscure the storm, but that's a light show. That's especially north of Fredericksburg. So that's something that we'll keep watching. And Albert, we'll throw it back over to you.
Okay, some good news, Hunter. They are going to allow that tornado warning to expire, the one that's up in Llano County and included at least the western shores of Lake Buchanan. So now at 4:30, that tornado warning has expired. Also, the thunderstorm in Gillespie County, it looks like they're going to let that one expire. They're still calling it strong, moving off towards the northeast at 40 miles per hour. So let's just do a check here, just to kind of keep an eye on this stuff. And just because they've allowed this stuff to expire, we already have an idea that there is enough ingredients or atmosphere that these storms could continue to spin, right? That's why we're on TV and streaming on digital. So there you saw the red polygon. The tornado warning has expired, but the severe thunderstorm warning continues for Llano and at least west central sections of Burnett County for the next 15 minutes, because this thunderstorm still, as Hunter was showing you on the velocity, could be producing wind gusts at 60 miles per hour, if not higher, as it continues to move off towards the east. So moving into Lake Buchanan right now, as it continues to parallel the Llano River there in Llano County and beginning to nudge its way into western sections of Burnett County. So the severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect for Gillespie County also allowed to expire. They have this thunderstorm moving off towards the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Main concerns here would be thunderstorms producing nickel-sized hail and wind gusts to 40 miles per hour. So let's do a storm track on both of these. This one moving off towards the northeast like so would put it in Willow City at right now, moving into Willow City right now. Kingsland at 5:06, Granite Shoals at 5:07, and then Buchanan Dam, you've got thunderstorm number 1 coming in right now. You'll get another thunderstorm, a strong storm coming in at 5:14, and then Burnett. This is another thunderstorm that will follow behind at 5:27. So that's that thunderstorm. Again, no warning on it anymore, but capable of producing 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts, nickel-sized hail. Here's the severe thunderstorm. Let me get the latest statistics on this one on its forward speed as it continues to move off towards the east at 55 miles per hour. Main concerns here would be thunderstorm winds of 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail, so that's why there's that severe thunderstorm warning on it. So let's do a storm track on it as it continues to move off towards the east like so, and we've got it going into Buchanan Dam within the next 30 seconds really. It's moving in now. Burnett at 4:45. You'll get this wave, and then about 30 minutes later, you'll get the second wave to come in. Lake Victor at 4:48, Bertram at 4:59, Briggs at 5:05, Maxdale at 5:12, Florence there in northwestern Williamson County at 5:14, and Youngsport. I've never even heard of that community. That must be up in Bell County, Youngsport at 5:19. So those are the two thunderstorms that we're tracking. Let's take a look at the lightning strikes that are associated with the storm in Llano and Burnett County. producing 929 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. Just a tremendous amount of electricity with this storm. I'd hate to be on Texas 29 right now between Llano and Burnett. The only good news with our current situation with shelter in place, a lot of people aren't out and about. And of course, it's Easter Sunday and holiday. And the good news, if you do have Easter plans in the backyard, we're going to be 100% done with this by about 9 a.m., maybe even earlier than that, 8 a.m. And then all this stuff will be well off to the east. And then there's a pretty significant severe weather outbreak this afternoon and this evening for our friends in the deep south. Portions of Arkansas, a good chunk of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama are going to deal with even worse conditions than we have here in terms of severe weather. So that's what we have going on right now. 74 degrees right now in Austin. Let's show you the latest forecast models. And we may actually send you back to programming just because these active warnings are starting to actually, John, in the control room, let's go until 4:45. At this point, if we get additional warnings beyond that, then we'll continue to go. But let's just go for another 11 minutes here on TV. If you're watching me on your smartphone, on the digital side, we're with you. We ain't going nowhere for a while, okay? So let's show you future radar. Hunter was showing this, but let's take a look at some different forecast models. This is HRRR. This is a fairly new one. We'll see if it still kind of has the same solution. Still scattered showers and thunderstorms impacting the metro during the 5 a.m. hour, 6 a.m. lingering thunderstorms in the metro moving to the east of the interstate. There's 7 a.m. and then by 8 a.m. the majority of this stuff is out of here, and that's why I'm saying area-wide by 9 o'clock it's over, and we're going to look for a clearing sky. Strong west wind today. That's going to be the only issue this afternoon. Strong west wind. It's going to lower the humidity. That'll feel nice. And thankfully, we're at least getting rainfall. Otherwise, we'd be talking about an increased fire threat today. But thankfully, we'll have some damp soil. Okay, let me show you another forecast model. Little behind, but doing a good job showing intense thunderstorms up in Burnett County. This is, I think, a little slow, but you kind of get the idea of these thunderstorms. Maybe the most intense one staying north of Austin. Hey, that'd be nice, right? And getting out of here maybe a little bit quicker. I'm going to show you one more forecast model. This is the one that's made by Watson from IBM, something that we've been kind of trying out the last couple of weeks, seeing how well it does. This is showing thunderstorms in the metro at 5 a.m. We've been saying that for a while. So 5 a.m. hour, we'll be on weather alert here in the metro, Hayes, Travis, Williamson County. And then let's go to about 6 a.m. And then 6 a.m. you can see that severe weather threat then focuses back off towards the east, Bastrop, Lee, Milam County, potentially even portions of Caldwell and Fayette County. These models, though, the last few of them like to keep the heaviest stuff maybe north of Luling, north of Lockhart, north of LaGrange. And then you can see 9 o'clock, it's over. So the reason why we are on this early Easter Sunday is because we do have a tornado watch in effect. In orange, you see there up in Llano and Burnett County, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. But in yellow, that is a tornado watch, meaning that conditions are favorable for spin-up tornadoes, like that tornado warning that we just had in the last several minutes. So this does include all of the KVUE viewing area with the exception of Fayette County until 8 a.m. So this is going to be something we're going to keep an eye on. The tornado threat will come to an end well before 8 a.m. for the Hill Country and the Metro. We'll have to keep an eye on through 8 a.m. for the potential for spin-up tornadoes if you live to the east of the interstate in those counties east of the interstate, Milam, Bastrop, Lee, and even Caldwell County. So that's the current watch and warning situation. Let's go back to live Doppler radar. That thunderstorm, last couple of scans, this one's getting a little stronger now. The one that they dropped the warning on just a few minutes ago, it's now focused in northeastern Gillespie County. This is going to be over Willow City. This one getting a little bit stronger. Let's take a look at Hail Tracker. Thankfully, everybody, none of the storms that we've seen, at least in our viewing area yet, have been big hail producers. That was one thing that we were concerned about with these forecasts, that may have to deal with some large hail. Earlier last night, during the 8 o'clock hour, there was baseball-sized hail reported in Del Rio, with these same storm complex coming on in. So thankfully, we're not having to deal with that here locally. But one thing that we are watching for, we'll switch from Hail Tracker to what we call velocity mode. And Hunter, gotta watch this guy. Rotation. So velocity shows us which direction the winds are flying based on those raindrops. Where are they flying? And we got a little bit of rotation picking up now just a few miles to the northeast of Fredericksburg, here along 16 in Gillespie County, here along Texas 16. I'm just going to back this up a little bit just so we can see it was broad, and then maybe getting a little bit tighter, something for us to keep an eye on over the next several minutes. Keep in mind, because of the curvature of the Earth, these radar beams, and I'll show you where I'm getting this particular scan from. This one's coming all the way over here to New Braunfels. See the New Braunfels radar site right here? So because of the curvature of the Earth, as the radar beam goes out, it actually goes several thousand feet above the surface. So that's kind of the difficult part about forecasting tornadoes out in the hill country, or really anywhere farther away from the radar sites, because you're scanning in the middle or even top part of the thunderstorm. So you can have intense mid-level rotation, but to have tornadoes, you got to have low-level rotation, and the radars can't see low-level rotation this far out. So we do have some mid-level rotation within this thunderstorm that is tightening up just a little bit. Again, a few miles back off towards the northeast of Fredericksburg, moving away from Fredericksburg. So if you're watching me from Fredericksburg, that's moving away from you. That's good news. But you can kind of see we do have a little bit of a hook-looking signature here, as you have warm, humid air wrapping in like this, and then some colder air wrapping out like that. So let's see what this severe thunderstorm warning is. This is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that has just popped up. It's for that same storm that was tornadic in the last 30 minutes. It's no longer tornadic, at least not at the moment, but the National Weather Service is going to continue this severe thunderstorm warning to include the northern half of Burnett County. This does now include downtown Burnett. It also includes Briggs. So if you look Briggs to Lampasas, Burnett to Lampasas, this thunderstorm headed your direction, currently focused in right over Lake Buchanan and then back down towards the south. Not far from Kingsland. It appears, though, if you're watching me from Marble Falls, this thunderstorm, at least the worst of it, is going to stay to the north of you. Let's take a look at Doppler winds with this thunderstorm. That's messy looking, huh? I don't think I've ever seen like orange colors like that. It's messy looking velocity scan. So not showing as intense on the wind as it did. Let me just check storm relative. All right, let's check a different radar site. Okay. You know, when you get days like today where you got all kinds of stuff on the radars, you know, radar sometimes has a little trouble kind of punching through, and radar beams bend and stuff like that. So we just wait for some new scans. But on top of the wind and hail threat, and actually, let me pop the warning back up and I'll read the text from the National Weather Service. On top of the wind and even hail threat with this particular thunderstorm, a tremendous amount of lightning. This thunderstorm has been the most impressive today when it comes to the electricity that it's producing. So this thunderstorm is moving to the northeast at 50 miles per hour. Two concerns here: nickel-size hail, so that would be below severe weather limits, but the reason why the warning is continuing, the potential for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So let's do a storm track on this as it slides up like so, and it moves into Lake Victor here in about 9 minutes. Burnett at about 4:52. This is when the heavier rain arrives. Briggs at 5:10. KB Heights up in Bell County at about 5:15. So if you are watching from Georgetown, Round Rock, this particular thunderstorm looks like it's going to be passing to the north. But we've got to watch these thunderstorms that are developing back off towards the southwest of it that have had the history of being severe move into the metro and including Williamson County. So Marble Falls, you're good now, but notice this thunderstorm coming in from the southwest. Kingsland, same thing. Brown Mountain, same thing. Johnson City, this particular storm, you can kind of see it's going to move to the north of you, but we'll keep an eye on Johnson City, this activity down here towards to the south of Harper to Fredericksburg to continue to move on in. So one thing that I really like to see is the movement of these guys. I like to see them doing this. I like them seeing going northwest, southwest to northeast, I should say, southwest to northeast. And the reason for that is, all right, we got a new tornado warning, everybody. This is just popping up. This is that same storm that we were just talking about that was showing signs of rotation a few miles to the northeast of Fredericksburg. The National Weather Service has decided to issue a tornado warning on it. So this is a tornado warning in effect for the northeastern corner of Gillespie County, northwestern corner of Blanco County, and at least a sliver, a portion of Llano County. So who is included in this warning? The community of Fredericksburg is not included. Round Mountain, you are included, at least on the fringe of this polygon. This is moving into a relatively sparse populated area, all right? But this thunderstorm, as it continues to move off towards the northeast, could intersect Kingsland and Marble Falls. So Kingsland and Marble Falls, let's watch this one real closely, and let me read the latest from the National Weather Service on its current heading as it continues to move off towards the northeast. They have it moving at 45 miles per hour. So this thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Fredericksburg, but moving away from Fredericksburg. As far as how many miles away is it? It's 7 miles away from Fredericksburg. So Fredericksburg, you're in the clear. Let's go back to Doppler winds. This is what caught my eye. This rotation that we had ramping on up, where you see the orange and red colors meet up with the green and turquoise colors. There you have the rotation right along Texas 16. Let me kind of just change that a little bit. Oh, don't slow down on me now, computer. We need you. There you go. That's where we have that tightening rotation. And let's do a storm track on this rotation with it moving off towards the northeast. Pop up the warning one more time so you can see what's happening here. And this is a strengthening thunderstorm, again, capable of producing a tornado, Round Mountain included. If you live in this area, even though it is sparsely populated, there are still homes out here in the hill country for sure. You got to get in that safe spot. First floor if you're in a multi-story home. Center room, no windows. Center room, no windows. The reason why we tell people to stay away from windows is you get wind gusts wrapping in with a potential tornado. It breaks a tree limb, it breaks a window, and you get cut up by glass. And the last place you want to be now more than ever is the emergency room, right? For multiple reasons, but especially with this virus thing that continues. So let's do a storm track on this with its current heading at 45 miles per hour. I'll adjust my forward speed on my little storm track here. And where I'm going to put it is where I have the rotation on radar. So you kind of see it moving into Willow City here in about 6 minutes. So if you are in Willow City, or you know someone who's in Willow City, right? You got a friend, you got a family member. It's early on this Easter morning at 4:45. Don't worry about texting. Just give them a call and say, hey, I'm watching KVUE. They say there's a potential tornado headed your direction. So Willow City in the path of this thunderstorm that's moving off towards the northeast at 45 miles per hour. We'll broaden out the view just so we're making sure everyone knows what's going on. 2 active warnings right now. A severe thunderstorm warning up in northern Burnett County. Main concern there would be from winds up to 60 miles per hour, nickel-sized hail, and just a tremendous amount of lightning. I'll drop the lightning so you get a clearer look at it. We'll have to investigate that one for maybe some rotation. Actually, let's do that right now, and then we'll come back to the Gillespie County storm. Let's take a look at velocity on this guy. No tight rotation, but still some intense winds, 60-plus mile-per-hour winds coming off the eastern shores of Lake Buchanan. This is Lake Buchanan right here, and you see these turquoise colors moving off towards the northeast. Those are damaging winds that will be moving over a Highway 281 north of Burnett within the next 3 to 5 minutes, and that's going to continue to intersect 183 between Briggs and Lampasas here in probably 10 to 15 minutes. So that's a severe thunderstorm warning there. But no signs of tight rotation. But we continue to see tight rotation with this thunderstorm in northeastern sections of Gillespie County. Now, LBJ Ranch, Stonewall, this is north of you and moving away from you. Again, Fredericksburg, you're not included in the polygon, this little red box here. This does include, though, Willow City and Round Mountain. And look at this. If we zoom in here, you see the little donut hole right there on the Doppler radar? Right there? That's indications of updraft, upward movement in the thunderstorm, not just going up, but spinning. So you've got some intense winds wrapping into the thunderstorm like this and upward, and then strong winds wrapping outside of it. And that's where you have that rotation for a potential tornado. I'm just going to take a look at our debris signature. There's nothing there. That's good. That's a product that we use called correlation coefficient. It gives us an idea if there's any kind of debris being lofted or being thrown up from a upward with a tornado. We're not seeing that. That's always good news. But right now we have that rotation right along Texas 16, and that's why this tornado warning is in effect. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. Let's see if we can get Willow City. There's Eckert, the community of Eckert. Willow City is not popping up for some reason, but Willow City, you are included in this tornado warning. And let's just get a check on the latest scan there. Very interesting to see that little donut hole right there. That upward fast movement going inside the thunderstorm. We've been talking last couple of days how severe weather threat was on the increase, and then yesterday morning we started to indicate that the atmosphere could also be producing supercell thunderstorms that could produce tornadoes, and that's what's happening here this early morning. And some of these storms will be moving into the metro, so we got to be watching that closely as well. So this one moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. Let's just do another storm track on it, on where the rotation is right now, like so. There's Willow City, moving in right now. Willow City, you can't waste any time. You got to get to that room in your home, first floor, away from windows. You hang out in there for 10 minutes max. That's it. Hang out in there, you're going to be just fine. Once this passes, you can go back to bed, okay? Just do that for me, and you're going to be fine as long as you're in that room without windows. Now, this thunderstorm is, if it holds together in terms of its rotation, could be impacting other communities. So let's kind of put a little bit more of a broad storm track on this, and we've got it moving in, at least where potential rotation is, into Granite Shoals at 519. Rain, though, in Granite Shoals picking up within the next 2 to 5 minutes. You're going to notice the raindrops starting to come down heavier and heavier, especially over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Marble Falls, let's watch this thunderstorm, okay? By 5:27, so you got about 37 minutes, and that could change if the forward speed picks up. But let's watch this one as it gets a little bit closer to you. So let's do a reset here, everybody. It is now 4:50. And you're watching KVUE either on TV, and we're also streaming on all of our digital platforms on the KVUE News app, KVUE.com. We're on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And the reason why we're streaming on everywhere available is if you get caught up in one of these electric storms, like the one especially in Burnett County, and you lose power, you at least be able to use your smartphone or your tablet that you can stay connected with us. So that's why we're just sticking with you this morning. So the big question is this going to make it to your house if you're watching from Austin or Georgetown or Kyle Butte? I'm sure a lot of you are asking those questions, and I have not looked at any of your questions, sorry, for the last several minutes. Let's show you the latest forecast models and our current thinking. I think that these storms will continue on an east to northeast push, and the only good news with that is potentially the most intense thunderstorms would stay just north of Austin on their current heading. The one thing that I will say, though, with this particular thunderstorm that has a tornado warning on it near Willow City in Gillespie County, when these thunderstorms start to wrap up, they start to rotate, they take less of a northeastern movement, they take less of a movement of how mid-level winds are coming in from the southwest to northeast, and as they rotate like a top, they'll take a little bit more of a right turn or an easterly movement. So, and while I'm saying that, let me just investigate that and see if that's kind of what is happening. And it looks like it's still going to the northeast, so that's good, at least for the city of Austin. But it looks like this thunderstorm will be impacting Horseshoe Bay, Marble Falls, Granite Shoals, if you live south of Burnett, and then it could, we'll see how this kind of materializes in the next 30 minutes, could impact the northwest corner of Travis County. So Lago Vista, let's keep an eye on this one. Spicewood, let's watch this one, Spicewood, all right? And then eventually into southwestern and western Williamson County. Let's watch it as well. So let's get you updated on the latest warning if you're just now jumping on in. And if you're saying, man, this guy repeats himself, well, you know, people are jumping on TV and on their app every few minutes. So we want to make sure everyone knows what's up. So this is a tornado warning in effect until 5:15. We have evidence on Doppler radar that there is enough rotation in the atmosphere near Willow City in northwestern Gillespie County that has prompted the National Weather Service to issue this warning. Included in this warning is Round Mountain, at least the corner of Round Mountain. If you're in Round Mountain, we're going to watch it. I'm just looking at it real quick. It looks like you watching this? It looks like it's taking a little bit more of a due east movement now. So, yeah, let's watch this Round Mountain. Johnson City, this is going to stay up towards the north of you. But see how things can, change in just a few minutes. The movement, the speed, the rotation. That's why we treat days like today like we're doing now, where we're streaming and we're able to kind of analyze this with you minute by minute, and that's what we got going on. So let's go back to velocity. I'm sure we got a few new scans there, and the velocity scan continues to show tight rotation. The only good news is this is rural northeastern Gillespie County. That is the only good news, but we have some tight rotation within this thunderstorm, and I'm just going to back this up a few frames just to kind of see if I'm seeing that easterly tick. And yeah, a little bit more of a due east than it was just a few minutes ago. So yeah, Round Mountain, let's watch this one, okay? Or if you know someone, you got family, friends, Round Mountain, give them a call. Don't worry about the text. You wake them up. It don't matter. Say Happy Easter and tell them to get to the safe spot. So that tornado warning is in effect for them. And we may see them reissue it over the next few minutes, or at least adjust this polygon, because it looks like it's taking maybe a little bit more of an easterly jog than off towards the northeast. Moving northeast as the last update from the National Weather Service at, oh, they just updated it actually. So let me take a look at this real quick. I'm going to pull it up on this other computer here and read and see if they have indeed changed the forward speed. Northeast at 45, so no, that has not changed. Here 4 minutes ago at 4:50, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located over Willow City or 12 miles to the northeast of Fredericksburg. Moving away from Fredericksburg, everybody, northeast at 45. So let's do another storm track on this. That way everyone knows what's going on, and we'll make this a broad storm track of where the rotation is, just like so. So over Willow City, beginning to move away from Willow City, and actually I'm going to redraw that. I don't think it's going to take a little bit more of an easterly. Stand by, everybody.
I'm seeing a bit of debris on the correlation coefficient south of Willow City, Albert.
Okay, let's take a look. There's a storm track at 5:19. Hunter is saying that he's seeing potential debris being lofted within. Yep, I think you're right, unfortunately. Okay, so everybody, we have a potential tornado on the ground right now. We're getting evidence on both reflectivity, what you're seeing here. See that donut hole right over Ranch Road 1323? That's upward motion, spinning motion. So we've got evidence there. We have evidence also on our velocity scan of tight rotation, and now getting evidence here where you see this bright color right here of debris being lofted or being thrown up from a tornado. And if we back this up a few frames, you see that ball right there. That is an indication to us that there could be trees, could be leaves, could be shingles, could be all kinds of stuff being thrown up in the atmosphere. So that has given us enough evidence to be with you and to tell you that this is not just a tornado warning that we were seeing on velocity, but now we're seeing evidence in that correlation coefficient, that debris detector, as we like to call it, moving through northeastern Gillespie County and going to be making its way into the northwestern corner of Blanco County. So serious thunderstorm for sure. If you are watching from Willow City, I'm looking at the Facebook feed. If you're watching from Willow City, we'd like to know how you are. Do you guys experience damage? It's getting better for sure, and it looks like this is going to be rain wrapped. We're not seeing that weakness anymore. It looks like we just got a lot of rain that is wrapped within this thunderstorm, and the area that we're watching is kind of right in here for the rotation. And then there's a look at the debris signature. We're still getting that debris signature right here. Again, not far from Ranch Road 1323. And what sometimes you can see is that debris signature linger for a bit. Perhaps the tornado weakens, it goes back up in the cloud, but because you have debris, you've got, again, leaves or trees or branches or, in some cases, parts of folks' homes, it can kind of linger up in the atmosphere a bit, and we'll continue to see it on that debris detector. So that's honestly, Hunter, if that was the case, that's the first time in my career here at KVUE that we've used correlation coefficient to actually see debris in our KVUE viewing area. So I hope everyone is safe in Willow City. Sean is writing in. He says, no problem in Willow City so far. Sean, that's the best news I've heard. Thank you, my friend. That's moving, the most intense part of the storm moving away from you now. So you're going to be in the all clear soon, but thank you so much for writing that on in, okay? So a tornado warning does continue this early morning for the next 17 minutes, okay? For this portion of Gillespie County, moving away from Willow City, and then it's going to be moving into portions of Llano, Extreme, southeastern Llano County, northwestern Blanco County over the next several minutes. There you see the polygon. Round Mountain, let's continue to watch this thunderstorm. If you're in Round Mountain, the rain beginning to pick up, especially if we live off towards the west of 281. The rain has really picked up just in the last 5 minutes in Kingsland and starting to pick up in Marble Falls. And this rotation is off towards the southwest of Marble Falls. So we're watching this for you as well. Marble Falls and Kingsland not included in this tornado warning. I'm going to let Hunter take over for a bit. I'm going to grab a drink of water. Hunter is on max 3, John.
Cool. Well, since Albert just touched on the tornado warning, we'll get back to that very shortly. But I do want to show you the severe thunderstorm warning that does continue for the Lake Victor area. This, again, is not rotation, but it looks like some pretty gusty straight line winds could be in the process or have just moved through the Lake Victor area as this stuff continues to move northeast. So again, aside from the tornado warning, we do have this severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for the northern portions of Burnett County. So now that we touched base on that, back to the tornado warning. And again, we're still detecting some pretty strong rotation here. This is going to continue until 5:15 a.m. And that's still a pretty tight-looking couplet. And one of the things that Albert was talking about is the tendency that some of these, especially once they get spinning, to maybe take a jog a little bit to the right of where it appears that they're moving. And that's why if you're watching us from Round Mountain, we've been saying it for the past couple of minutes, number one, if you live there, make sure that you're sheltered. An interior room, put as many walls between the outside and yourself as possible. And number two, if you know anybody that lives there, as Albert was saying, make sure you give them a call just to give them a heads up. It's always kind of tricky with these events that take place in the middle of the night. Not necessarily everybody is aware of what's going on. So I'm actually going to pause this, and we're going to do a comparison here of where the rotation is located and what we're seeing in velocity and where we're detecting maybe some lofted debris. So I'm going to draw it on here where you see these arrows. That's the rotation right here, and this is what's moving generally to the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Now let's go to the correlation coefficient. We have a new scan in, so it's moved, but you see that same general area, and we'll draw it again. That's where you see the lighter colors. That could be the radar detecting some debris, whether this be sticks or sometimes it can be even in dust or smaller things that's been lofted potentially by this tornado. So going back to this, we're going to do a storm track. This is now the National Weather Service has adjusted the movement. So this one is moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So we talked about Round Mountain. I'm going to go ahead. Marble Falls, you're not in the warning just yet, but if this holds together, this could be an issue for the Marble Falls area, especially south of town. So we'll go ahead and get you guys thinking about that safe place too. So let's, that's not what we want to do. Let's grab this one right here. We'll highlight this kind of generalized area of the rotation. We'll move that northeast, drop it a little farther south. We'll move that northeast at about 40 miles per hour and get some times up for you guys. 30, there's 40. So Horseshoe Bay, again, this is approximate, but just to get people thinking, and some of this will go outside of the warning. Horseshoe Bay, 525. 533 Marble Falls, 544 Smithwick as this continues northeast at 40 miles per hour. So some of those areas are not yet within the tornado warning. Round Mountain, we want you to go ahead, take shelter now. Further down the line, if it's Horseshoe Bay or Smithwick, maybe start thinking about what you would do if they do decide to extend this tornado warning. Let's loop this again and see if it's continuing maybe with the new scan to do a bit of that right hook as we try and kind of hone in on where this thing could be going. And some of the good news, watch the trend. Notice how it was a tighter couplet about 15 or 20 minutes ago. I'm not ready to say that, this is not a dangerous storm. It certainly is, but the couplet looking a little bit broader. And it's definitely starting to take a bit of that right hook that Albert was talking about. So Round Mountain, whether it's a tornado or whether it's gusty straight line winds, we want you to be in that safe place now. If you know anybody that lives in Round Mountain, it's the middle of the night. It never hurts to call somebody, as Albert was saying, but you wish them a happy Easter just to make sure that everybody is aware of what's going on there. Okay, so the tornado warned storm, let's go back to the bigger picture view, and we do have the other severe thunderstorm warning. That is the northern portions of Burnett County. And that's a kind of nasty looking signature there near just north of Lake Victor. And it's broad rotation, but it's not necessarily the tornado threat with this storm. It's gusty straight line winds. So I think still the potential is there. And that's why they were continuing this warning. It was producing hail that could be up to about nickel size. That's not necessarily severe hail, but the wind gusts could be upwards of 60 miles per hour. This is the storm that moved through Llano County and produced some pretty gusty winds there. In fact, I saw some video on Twitter of some straight line winds moving through that Llano area that looked pretty impressive. So a heads up, move through Lake Victor, and that's going to continue northeast through that northern tier of Burnett County here over the next 30 or 45 minutes. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one. Aside from that, we have the tornado warned storm. And as we back out the view, a lot of this activity, in fact, all of it has really been across the hill country. So if you're watching us from the I-35 corridor, it's now 5:04. This is, we'll watch the trajectory again. It's good that it has this northeastern component rather than just due east. And I say good because maybe that could keep some of this out of the immediate Austin metro, maybe just north. Of course, we'll watch for additional development. But as we get closer to about 6 a.m., that's when we'll start to ramp up the storm risk, I think, for kind of that immediate 35 corridor area, including the Austin metro. But for now, we have the two warnings. The tornado warning that we've been watching, that's north and east of Fredericksburg, and then the severe thunderstorm warning that's in northern Burnett County, and that severe thunderstorm warning before too long will be moving out of our KVUE viewing area. So some new scans are in now, again with this tornado warning. It's been moving through Gillespie County. Now we're talking about northern Blanco County into Llano County with the rotation. I'll tell you what, that couplet looks like maybe it's trying to get a bit more organized again, and still the sense of urgency is really starting to be there now for Round Mountain. Yep. If you're watching us there, interior room, as many walls between the outside and yourself as possible. That's where you need to be right now. And if you know anybody there, call them, tell them there's a storm capable of producing a tornado. It's heading that way. I know it's the middle of the night. It's not necessarily what you want to do, but you need to get out of bed and make sure that you are sheltered as this is approaching the Round Mountain area, and still that couplet is certainly there. Yeah. Let's go back to the correlation coefficient, and it's looking a bit messier now, but again, sometimes this kind of lags behind what's actually happening, and still I'm seeing some lower numbers there. It's just not quite as clean. Sometimes this kind of lags behind what the storm is actually doing, as again, it can take a second for the stuff to actually get lofted up and detected by the radar and everything. But that's a couplet that, you know, personally would make me want to take action. If I lived in Round Mountain right now, I would make sure that I was sheltered and ready to go.
And Hunter, look at that donut hole that we were just looking at too. We were just talking about. You get that strong upward movement within the thunderstorm, rotating movement in the thunderstorm. Let's go to Max 1 there, John, and we'll take a look at this. And Hunter, thank you so much. You're absolutely right. This, in the last couple of scans, taking less of a northeast jog and more of a due east jog. So you said it right. If you live in Round Mountain or if you live in northwestern Blanco County, you have to get to your safe spot now, just like we were telling our friends in Willow City a few minutes ago. This has shown a history of producing a tornado based on technology. Radar was able to detect lofted debris, picking up something. Again, it could have been something as fine as dust to branches, to leaves, to we hope no one's pieces of property, but that's what we have right now, and you can see that we do have that strong rotation right in here, and that's going to be moving into Round Mountain. Great idea at 5:07 on this Easter morning to call a friend or family member and let them know what's headed their way. Marble Falls, let's not put our guard down, okay? Because even though it's making that that's east jog, I should say, right now, it could easily kind of come back up here towards the northeast, okay? So Round Mountain, we want to watch that very closely. We'll go back to our debris detector, Still could be maybe some leftover debris right in here, maybe. It's not as pronounced as it was just a few minutes ago. There's a look at the Doppler radar scan. I'm going to go back to the nearest radar. And this is also showing that classic type of a hook echo kind of a signature where you have that warm, humid air wrapping in like this, cooler air moving out like that, and that's where you have the rotation. This is going to be to the north of Ranch Road 1323 here in extreme northwestern Blanco County. You can see it's going to be moving a little bit closer to the Smith West Ranch Road, and eventually, if you live out here towards Round Mountain. As far as how far away is this from Round Mountain, I can show you. Let me show you the, looks like we've got, okay, so they have decided to extend this tornado warning to include now the community of Marble Falls. So this is an extension of this tornado warning that now makes its way into south central sections of Burnett County. So Round Mountain, we're still watching it for you, but just because what we were just saying, this could take a little bit more of a northeast jog, you want to be on the lookout there in Marble Falls. So let's do this real quick. Let's drop all the radar data. Let me just show you who's included in this new polygon right in here, and we'll zoom in. So Granite Shoals and southward, you want to watch this super closely. Marble Falls, you are right there in the polygon, and so is Round Mountain. So those are the populated communities that are included in this new tornado warning that is just popped up. And we'll list the information here and see if the forward speed has changed at all. And the National Weather Service still has it going northeast at 40. I think it's a little bit more east than northeast at 40 miles per hour. So let's do a storm track on that 40 mile per hour speed, which is slowed down just a little bit from the last warning. We'll do it where we think the rotation is right now and make it like that. Let's actually make it just a little bit wider just to account on any kind of difference in the motion. So Horseshoe Bay at 526, potential for tornado moving into your area. Cottonwood Shores at 529, Marble Falls here in the next 24 minutes. And we'll say it again, just because folks may just be waking up with us and watching us. Safe place is going to be lowest level of your home. If you have a two-story home, first floor, and the key is a room with no windows. In the center room, as it can be, it may be a bathroom as long as it has no windows, maybe a closet or pantry, but I'm telling you, as long as you're in there, put the kids in there, get their tablet, they're probably all sleepy anyway, hang out in there for 20, 25 minutes max, and you're going to be good. Willow City residents had to do that. We had that debris detected on that correlation coefficient, that Doppler radar product, that debris detector that we use, may see something similar for you. So just get to that safe place, and this will pass, and you're going to be good to go. And the reason, a lot of people ask, why does it have to be a room with no windows? The big issue, and most of the tornadoes we see in central Texas are on the lower end, EF0 to EF2. Any of those are going to make for a bad day at your house, any of those. But these weak tornadoes can bring down branches, and if that branch hits a window, you don't want to get cut up. That's why we say a room without windows. So it looks like this thunderstorm is wrapping up. Look at that signature on Doppler radar. It's even tighter now than it was. Let's go back to correlation coefficient there. May see debris detected shortly, but this is evidence like we don't see all that often here in central Texas of a tornado developing or on the ground right now. And again, if you live Round Mountain to Horseshoe Bay to Marble Falls to near Granite Shoals, you got to get to the safe place right now. It looks like based on its current motion, yeah, I'm not ready to give, a clear for Granite Shoals. So Granite Shoals, Round Mountain, Horseshoe Bay, Marble Falls, this thunderstorm headed in your direction right now. Actually, Hunter, take over for a second. I'm going to practice what we preach. We're saying call them. If you know someone in the path of the storm, Terry Gruca, our wonderful anchor, lives in the path of the storm. So Hunter's going to take over on Max 3, John. I'm going to call Terry, make sure her and her family are safe. So do what I'm doing with your friends and family.
Very good call there, Albert. So again, here's our tornado warning. This is an extension of the storm that we were watching earlier. And for Round Mountain and Marble Falls, any point in between, these are the areas that we're watching. And this is certainly still a couplet on the velocity that's looking pretty tight. And this is getting really close to Round Mountain. In fact, here, let's stop this. And what we're going to do is let's do a little measurement here. It's not moving necessarily due east. It's a little bit farther north than that, but the area of the tightest rotation is about 8 miles now outside of Round Mountain. So the time is now. If you live in that area, you need to make sure you are sheltered. Get everybody awake. An interior bathroom, an interior closet is a great place to be at the moment. And like Albert, if you know anybody there, give them a call. It's the middle of the night. Just want to make sure that everybody's aware of this. Let's zoom in a little bit closer here. And you can see the exact locations of where this is now. It's between Ranch Road 1323 and Ranch Road 962 West. So if those are ringing a bell for you, again, a heads up, that's where the circulation is now. It's about 8 miles due west of Round Mountain, and it has that kind of right hook. So Round Mountain, especially if you live just to the north of town there, now is the time to be sheltered as we have an extension of this warning. With that being said, we've been talking a lot about Round Mountain. Still, if you're in Marble Falls, we want to make sure you are sheltered too. Even outside of the area of the tightest circulation, you still have gusty winds that extend outside of that area. So Marble Falls, make sure you are sheltered too. Let's go back to the correlation coefficient. Here, we'll delete the last scan. And we just don't have the same clean look. And fortunately, we don't want the clean look. We don't necessarily have the same clean look that we had earlier, but sometimes it's just a little bit delayed in seeing that. But this is what we have on the standard reflectivity, and it's starting to ramp up. And at times, we've seen the scans with what we call the donut hole, or in a meteorology textbook, it would be called a bounded weak echo region. It tells you that you have a lot of spin and that you have the updraft there. Not necessarily seeing that signature now, but it's got that hook to it. So this is a storm it's definitely spinning, guys. So Round Mountain, again, we want you to be sheltered. Right now, this is a tornado warning that does continue for the Round Mountain area over to Spicewood and Marble Falls. So northern Blanco County into Burnett County and parts of Llano County until 5:45. So some cities in there: Cottonwood Shores, Granite Shoals, Horseshoe Bay, Marble Falls, Meadow Lakes. If you live in those areas, if you live near them, a tornado warning for the next 30 minutes. And I know it's the middle of the night, and sometimes the last thing you want to do is get out of bed and go huddle in the bathroom, but that's the right thing to do right now. This is a storm that has had a tight couplet, and still we're tracking a couplet that's looking fairly tight. It's a storm that just about 20 minutes ago, we were detecting a debris signature with it. So this is a storm that essentially you can confirm at one point further down the line was on the ground, and it very well may still be on the ground. So Round Mountain right now, make sure you are taking shelter. Let's zoom in again real quick. I'm going to pause this so you can see the latest scan of where this is. So the 281 corridor, anywhere between Round Mountain and Marble Falls.
Oof, man.
It's the middle of the night, so I don't think a ton of people are driving, but that's certainly the last place you want to be in a car. And that's still a really tight-looking signature right there. That couplet's still there, and it's heading right towards Round Mountain. It's now 5 miles due west of town. Okay, so again, these things are moving just north of due east at about 40 miles per hour, so they've got some movement to them. You need to make sure you are sheltered. Right now, that's a pretty dangerous looking couplet that we have. It's just 5 miles to the west of Round Mountain. Okay, I want to back this out. Now that we went to kind of the street view, we're going to back this out for a second, and that's going to switch the radar, but that's okay. What we want to do is do a storm track on this. This is going to call out some general neighborhoods here, heading generally northeast at about 40. So a lot of the names that we've been talking about, Round Mountain, need to be sheltered now. Spicewood, you're also in this warning. So once this heads through Round Mountain, Spicewood could kind of be next up. So start thinking about taking shelter there. And now we're talking about areas that are further out. Leander, you're not in this warning, but again, we talked about it. These could be, kind of these longer track storms tonight. So just start thinking about what you would do if this warning is continued. Let's get back in tighter, and a bit more of a messy couplet now, Albert, that we're seeing, but still, this is a storm that we're taking seriously as this warning continues until 5:45.
Hunter, thank you. We'll go back to Max 1. And as you were talking there, I was looking at some of our other products. And just in the last couple of minutes, if you look at that debris detector that we were talking about, there could have been right there as it was crossing into northwestern Blanco County, potential for another little debris being lofted about. And those signatures on Doppler radar have just been not good in a situation like that. So let's drop the lighting so we can get a clear look at this. Round Mountain, we've been talking to you a lot. Marble Falls, I want you all to be in that safe place as well. Here's where we have that rotation. Let's clean this up. And I'll show you the shear product. This can sometimes get kind of all the mess around here. And shear is that spinning upward motion in the atmosphere. And it's showing definitely areas of spin within this thunderstorm. And we'll get back to this. And this is a look at the velocity product. Which direction are the winds, the raindrops flying? And this gives us the idea that it is, as Hunter said, just a few miles just off towards the west of Round Mountain. So Round Mountain, we're in that safe spot. We're hoping, though, that this will be moving just north of you. There should be no travel, 0.0 travel between Marble Falls and Round Mountain right now on Highway 281. If you know someone who's, they're in essential work and they got to go to work, and maybe they're coming up north on 281 or coming down south, tell them to just hang on. Go hang out at a gas station in Marble Falls or down in Johnson City. Let this thunderstorm get on out of here. And just in that last radar scan, look how much more intense that rotation is. So right now, Round Mountain and Marble Falls, we want you in your safe spot, along with no travel along 281, no travel along 71 in southern sections of Burnett County. So this is where we have that tornado warning in effect. There's a look at the polygon in effect until 5:45 as this thunderstorm continues to move off towards the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. This is going to stay well to the north of Johnson City. It's going to stay well to the south of the city of Burnett. But Marble Falls, Round Mountain, Granite Shoals, you're included in this, as well as Horseshoe Bay, you're included in this warning as well. One thing I was just mentioning about how we could see debris being picked up a little bit earlier. Let's kind of go back and show you this. When we were tracking this tornado warning when it was in Gillespie County, see that little weakness right there? In kind of green, that is the Doppler radar indicating debris. And you can kind of track how debris, and then we lose it a little bit. And then notice how it comes back kind of right in here, maybe just a little bit. So this could certainly be a tornado that is still on the ground. And that's why we want you to be extra safe as it moves into this populated area of northern Blanco and southern areas of Burnett County. Along with the hail and the wind and the tornado threat, you can see the tremendous amount of lightning. And I mentioned that to tell you that if you're watching us on TV right now, on KVUE right now, we are streaming everywhere possible. The KVUE News app, KVUE.com, YouTube, Twitter, and our Facebook page. That way, if you do lose power, you still have a connection with us and know what's happening. So we still want everyone there in Marble Falls, Round Mountain, Granite Shoals area, Horseshoe Bay, to be in your safe spot, lowest, most center portion of your home, no windows. As long as you're in there, you're going to be good. Talk to Terry Gruca. I mentioned I was going to call her. She's good. Her and her family are in their safe spot. Terry's watching right now, I see. And let's go back and zoom in because we did get a brand new scan. And I can show you, this is just classic looking. You've got that warm, humid air there. You got that cooler, windy air there. And that's where you have the rotation. Less than 2 miles to now the west-northwest of Round Mountain as this is moving off towards the northeast, kind of like that. So thank goodness the heart of Round Mountain, this is going to, at this point, it appears maybe just past a mile or two to the north of you, but it's still going to cross 281 and eventually 71. Now, we've been focusing on these communities a lot. Let's talk about Spicewood. Spicewood, you're also included in this tornado warning. So Spicewood, let's watch this thunderstorm, even though at this point it's moving off towards the northeast. What you can sometimes see with these spinning thunderstorms is they'll take less of a northeast movement and more of a due east movement. As the rotation increases within the storm, it takes more of a right-hand turn. So that's why we want to put Spicewood on alert for this particular thunderstorm. And it's very possible that as it continues to move off towards the east-northeast, could be making its way into western Travis County. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But if you are in western, in particular, northwestern Travis County, Lago Vista, up north, even into southwestern Williamson County, let's watch this one over the next several minutes. So if you're just now joining us, it is 5:22. I'm Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon alongside Hunter Williams here in the Storm Center, covering severe weather that is at the moment impacting the hill country, but you can see the motion is off towards the east and will be moving into the metro shortly. These thunderstorms slower than what we were thinking yesterday. The only good news about that is as the minutes tick by, our atmosphere continues to cool from yesterday's daytime heating, and that promotes a more stable atmosphere. So what I'm hoping for is that these storms continue to move off to the east-northeast, they'll weaken a bit. And the other good news, with it being the 5 a.m. hour, notice at this point we're not seeing thunderstorms developing on the southern or southwestern flank of these storms. So if we had additional big thunderstorms developing out here, I'd be really concerned from Austin southward. But it's very possible that we may get through this morning with these intense thunderstorms, for the most part maybe passing north of Austin and getting on out of here area-wide by 7:30, 8 a.m. Okay, that's. I know we got active warnings, and our friends in Marble Falls are saying, "Hey, what about us? Hey, we got you covered. Don't you worry." But if this can impact the smallest amount of people possible, it's going to be okay. Let's take a look at some of the latest forecast models. Here's the new one that just came out, and notice it's with that solution. Notice where the intense storms are at 6 a.m. Notice where the intense storms are at 7 a.m. Maybe some isolated intense stuff developing out here to the east. But that intense stuff that's around Marble Falls now, by 7 a.m. here in an hour and a half, Milam County and moving on out of the area. There's 8 a.m. and the tornado watch that we're currently in ends at 8 a.m. So I like to see that solution. I really do. Let's get back to the tornado warning that's in effect for this portion of Blanco and southern sections of Burnett County. There you see it moving almost due east now, right? You see that? Yeah. As we said, it would take, as it continues to wrap up that spinning, it would take less of a northeast movement and move maybe due east. So let me show you where the intense winds are. You can see them here in turquoise. Round Mountain, if you're watching me on Facebook, I'm looking at comments right now. Give me an update. What are you experiencing in Round Mountain? Potentially could have wind gusts 60 plus miles per hour right now. And as far as rotation goes, it would be kind of right in here, right on the Burnett-Blanco County line, and taking a little bit more, let's kind of back this up just to see, taking a little bit more of a, right there, a little bit more of a due east jog, kind of like that. So we'll be moving over Highway 281 within minutes and eventually 71 in less than 5 minutes. So Spicewood, we're watching this. Marble Falls, I'm hoping this stays just to the south of you, but stay in your safe place right now. It looks like the worst of this storm, at least the rotation, is going to pass to the south of Granite Shoals and Horseshoe Bay, but just a couple of miles. Look at this, just what, 2 miles, 4 miles to the south of Horseshoe Bay. Stay in your safe place for now, just to be on the safe side, but let's keep an eye on this as it continues to move almost to the due east and just like a little tick, kind of like that. So Spicewood, we're really watching this for you as this moves over Lake Travis. This is going to be beyond Starkey Dam, so it'll be Lake Travis as it moves into this portion of Burnett County over the next several minutes. We'll take a look at Hail Tracker. It's been a while since we looked at Hail Tracker. Very small hail with this system, so that's good. The other severe thunderstorm that we're tracking is up here in northern sections of Burnett County. It includes the communities of Briggs, and the main concern here is going to be from gusty winds, potentially as high as 60 miles per hour. That's a look at Doppler winds. Not nearly as strong as they were a little bit earlier on, but here on the North Fork of the San Gabriel River, some gusty winds kind of right in that area, kind of a rural area. There's some streets popping up kind of around FM 963. So we'll do a reset here. I know a lot of you are commenting about what about your particular community. Austin, we're good right now, and if this particular thunderstorm kind of stays on its little northeast heading, the worst of it may stay up towards the north of Austin. One thing that just caught my eye, let's look at this, Hunter. Let's see if we got a little rotation here. So sometimes what you can have, so you got rotation here, you got to watch this guy too, because what you're seeing here is a little kind of little dangling little finger. You get that air to come in like that, the air to come out like that, and you got yourself another issue. Let's see if we got any kind of intense rotation. We don't, thankfully. We'll go to shear product. We don't. It's mainly focused up here where the tornado warning is, which is a very small tornado warning. This is a look at the shear product, kind of cleans up the velocity scan and shows you where the most intense rotation, upward rotation is. And again, it's just a couple of miles to the north of Round Mountain and kind of passing right between Round Mountain and Marble Falls, just a couple of miles to the due south of 71, crossing over Highway 281 right now. So this tornado warning does continue. I'm thinking your rotation is right there, a little donut hole, right? So radar picks up on stuff that comes down like rain. Rain falls down. You've got upward movement in here. That's where your tornado could be, right there on the county line, moving off towards the east-northeast at 45 miles per hour. From a meteorological, I don't want you to show me up, Hunter, a brewer there, a bounded weak echo region. Yeah, hey, I can use fancy words too, mister. But that's where we have that potential for a tornado, and there you see it on the velocity scan as well. What about on that debris detector? We've been showing that a lot, not showing it there. We had that debris detected earlier when this thunderstorm was passing over Willow City. No reports of damage in Willow City, and that's good news. National Weather Service here a minute ago said that they are watching the velocity scan with us, saying that it is tightening up on their last scan. So let's go back to that and take a look at it. Yep. Let's do the nearest radar, nearest storm relative. There's nearest base velocity. Yeah, and it's tightening up again right there. Well, there's the latest scan. Man, that is not... What's interesting about this particular storm is that it will pulse up and pulse down. And there you see on the latest velocity scan, this tight rotation passing over 281, about to make its way over 71. So again, no travel right now. 281 Marble Falls to Round Mountain. No travel right now. 71 on the county line with Llano County back off towards Spicewood, because this is going to be a situation that you don't want to deal with. I'm going to just slow that down. Looks like it's moving due east now. So Spicewood, you are included in this tornado warning. If you're in Spicewood, it's time to get to your safe place now, okay? Just like our friends in Marble Falls and Round Mountain, and before that in Willow City, safe place, lowest level of your home, center of your home, no windows. You're in there, you're gonna be good. Once this storm passes, you can get back to sleep or start your day, and we'll be done with this mess. But that's a look at that tornado warning. I'm thinking they've got this in effect until 5:45, so another 15 minutes. They may adjust the polygon to point more off towards the east. Hunter Williams is here in the Storm Center with me. Hunter, are you seeing anything that I'm missing that you're seeing on your computer over there?
No, nothing that you're missing. I think you're right with maybe an adjustment as this is moving a little bit more due east as opposed to northeast. So you can see again the area of the tightest rotation here. Looks like that kind of skirted north of Round Mountain. But next up, we're going to be talking places like Spicewood. And Smithwick's not in the warning right now, but if it holds together, maybe that area. But especially the Spicewood community. In fact, rotation for the most, that's the strongest rotation there. Now about 9 to 10 miles outside of Spicewood, and there you see, Albert, again, as you said, it kind of cycles, but this is another scan that's looking pretty tight. Let's see if that's reflected in the wind shear product that we've been looking at, and it is. So again, the strongest rotation now is going to be just north and east of Round Mountain. So if you're, again, watching us in Spicewood, it's about 9 or 10 miles away, and you need to make sure that you're taking your tornado precautions. An interior room is a great spot to be. And it's the middle of the night. A lot of folks, I'm sure, are inside and not necessarily driving now, but there are some roads out here that we want to make sure nobody is traveling on. So it looks like the rotation likely just crossed over 281, heading towards 71, back towards Spicewood. So again, no one needs to be driving in those areas. And we'll say the same thing that we talked about with Round Mountain. So now it's Spicewood's turn. If you live in Spicewood, you need to be sheltered. If you know anybody that lives in Spicewood with these overnight events, it's not just about talking on TV. People are asleep. So we need your guys' help to make sure that if you have friends or family in Spicewood, they are aware that there's a potentially dangerous storm that could be heading that way. We'll back out the view again, though, and do the reset, because I was looking at the Facebook chat, too, and a lot of folks were asking you, what about the I-35 corridor? What about Austin? What about Georgetown? And again, assuming that nothing develops a bit farther south, then maybe the stormiest weather goes north of the Austin Metro. That's certainly not a guarantee, but based on what we're seeing right now, that's a possibility. And outside of the tornado warning, this has been hanging on for a while now, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning. That is for the northern portions of Burnett County. So this is going to include the Briggs area, where some heavy rain and some wind's going to be moving through now. That will take us until 5:45. So a little bit less than 15 minutes left on that severe thunderstorm warning. Hail could be upwards of quarter size and 60-mile-per-hour winds in addition to heavy rain and lightning possible with that storm. So that's the severe thunderstorm warning. Back to the tornado warned storm. And this is really just something that's been kind of fascinating to watch on radar, the cycles that it goes through. But still, it's got to look to it where we'll be watching for rotation. You can see that. We'll press the pause button here. And this is the rotation that moved just north of the Round Mountain area, and look at that. That's some pretty tight rotation that we're detecting there.
A little bit more to the south where the original rotation was, so it's cycling. Yep, so we're going to have to watch that area right there.
Yeah, so again, we've been talking about Spicewood. That's the kind of next community up. Spicewood, we want to make sure you are sheltered at the moment. An interior room. Oftentimes, an interior bathroom or a closet is a great place to be, as we see potentially this rotation tightening up here a bit. Again, and this is going to keep cycling, and that's why we'll sit here on TV and analyze each scan, but if you're at home, your actions should not necessarily be based on each scan, okay? When there's a tornado warning, you take shelter, you take the sense of urgency until the tornado warning is allowed to expire. So this one's going to go for another 11 minutes or so, and at that point we'll reassess, and if we need to include some new communities. In fact, it looks like they just trimmed the warning a bit, but that's still going to include Spicewood as we're watching this area of spin right here. This is the rotation. It's now, I'm going to say, probably 8 or 9 miles, 7 or 8 miles due west of the Spicewood area. Let's loop this again, and this is something that Albert and I have been watching. At times, they take on more of a northeasterly component of motion. At other times, they'll really wrap up and then take more of that due east. And it looks like, again, it could be doing kind of the wrap-up, but this could go between Spicewood and Smithwick as this continues. So we'll call out both of those communities. Smithwick is not in the warning just yet, but just out in an abundance of caution, we'll keep an eye on that. Albert?
So this is interesting, the National Weather Service just said, let me get back to that tornado warning. Interesting that they just said, Nick Hampshire, their Weather Service meteorologist, says we may have twin tornadoes in Burnett County. So they're seeing similar things that we are, 2 areas of rotation.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes it will cycle to the northern circulation's a bit more dominant, and then at other times it shifts back to the south, and that's why it looks kind of messy like that.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that locally before, but you've got 2 areas of rotation right in there. One a mile to the north of 71 and about a mile and a half to the south of 71, both moving to the east-northeast. So again, from the National Weather Service, they said that it possibly could have twin tornadoes right now. I don't think I've ever seen that written from the National Weather Service before. So that's why this tornado warning is there. Hopefully we don't have this situation, but there shouldn't be any travel on Highway 71 back off towards the west of 281 towards Spicewood. So Spicewood, Krause Springs, my friends at Krause Springs, get to a safe spot. My buddies down in Opie's there in Spicewood, the best barbecue in Spicewood and in the area, in my opinion. Y'all need to get to a safe spot as well, because we do have that area of rotation within this thunderstorm, and it's interesting to see both of them, because if we go back to the reflectivity, we've got that little bit of what we were just talking about, the donut hole, that little weakness in the reflectivity, kind of something like that.
Check out on the correlation coefficient. Again, this can sometimes be a bit delayed, but it looks like the debris signature might be back.
Okay, so what we're looking at here, everybody, is our debris detector. Doppler radar can, of course, detect hail and raindrops, but it can also detect foreign objects like debris. And right in here, that could be a debris ball. With a tornado on the ground, we saw something like this earlier this morning around Willow City in Gillespie County from the exact same supercell thunderstorm. So there could be a tornado on the ground right now that is lofting debris. There you see the latest scan. I think you're absolutely right, Hunter. So this is a tornado that is right around 71, back off towards the west of Spicewood by 5-6 miles, and that's it. And it's moving off towards almost the due east. So Spicewood, we said it a few minutes ago, you have to get to your safe spot right now. This is rain wrapped, meaning you won't be able to see anything. You're not going to see a funnel or anything. It's dark anyway. So get to that closet, get to that bathroom. As long as there are no windows in that bathroom, get to that pantry, lowest level of your home. If you're in there, you're going to be good. Wake up the kids. If you have friends or family in the Spicewood area, get them woken up. And let's go back to Doppler radar, because here's a brand new scan, and there you see it again. This is the weirdest thunderstorm that I've ever tracked, because we get these rotations in different parts of the storm. Velocity was showing it up here. Now we're seeing another weakness here. So if you're in Spicewood, or if you're on the northern sections of Blanco, southern sections of Burnett, right there on the county line, you get to the safe spot. If you live within a 5-mile radius of 281 and the 71 interchange, you get to a safe spot. As long as you're in that room that doesn't have windows, you're going to be in good shape. All right, so let's get back to velocity there. It's a little messy. Let's go to there. It's just all kinds of a mess right now. But right there, that's where we could certainly have debris being detected by Doppler radar. And the Weather Service again saying in the last couple of minutes that there could have been 2 tornadoes on the ground there in Burnett County, one to the north of 71 and one to the south. And the last update, Nick from the Weather Service typing up a message saying that the rotation has weakened a bit. So that's good. You could still have debris being detected even with your velocity scan, your wind scan weakening, because it can get tossed up in the atmosphere and it can hang out, whether it be dust, leaves, even parts of people's property can get lofted above in the atmosphere, hang out a bit. Radar still detects it, even though the storm has weakened a little bit in terms of rotation. That being said, I'm still seeing some rotation right in here to the north of 71. So Smithwick, Spicewood, get to a safe spot. I do want to give the all clear though in Granite Shoals in Horseshoe Bay. I got my friend Myra watching out there. You guys are good to go back to bed or start your day. That storm threat is moving away from you. So Granite Shoals, Horseshoe Bay, Marble Falls, this is now moving away from you. You may have a Marble Falls mailing address if you live to the southeast of Marble Falls, but it's mainly focused in, the threat mainly focused in right now along the 71 corridor from the 281 exit to Spicewood and up towards Smithwick, there towards the beginning of Lake Travis. This is going to be moving off towards the east and maybe east-northeast. So Travis County, let's watch this storm closely. I don't think this is going to slow down a whole lot. So western Travis County, southwestern Williamson County, we're watching this one right now. You're not under this tornado warning at the moment, but that can change. That's why we're on TV, and there you go. We called it. New tornado warning has just been issued. This is southwestern Williamson County and northwestern sections of Travis County. A brand new tornado warning just now issued. Included in this tornado warning are the communities of Leander, Cedar Park, the Lakeline Mall area, Liberty Hill, and Lago Vista. So brand new tornado warning just issued from the National Weather Service. Same thunderstorm. This has been the troublemaker all night for us. This thunderstorm coming in out of the Del Rio area, coming into the hill country, producing tornado warnings first in Gillespie County, then in Blanco and Burnett County, and now Travis and southwestern sections of Williamson County. So wake up our friends. Here we go again. If you're watching me on the .com, the app, whatever, on TV, you got friends, family in this new warning. Leander, Cedar Park, there's a lot of people. Leander, Cedar Park, Lakeline Mall area, back off towards Lago Vista, around the lake. Give them a call. Don't worry about texting. Wake them up. Happy Easter. Albert says potential tornado head your direction. Get to your safe spot. Remind them it's going to be a room with no windows. They live in a 2-story home. It's the first floor. Okay? So here's what we're tracking right now. We'll go back to velocity, and we still have, not too far from Spicewood, very close to Spicewood, between Spicewood and Smithwick, we're looking at rotation in the atmosphere right in here that has prompted the Weather Service to continue this tornado warning as they have it moving off towards the east-northeast. So with that new warning, I'm actually going to get the latest statistics here That way we're in the loop on the forward speed. So they've got it moving a little bit slower now, moving off towards the east at 35 miles per hour. They have potential tornado near Spicewood or right over Spicewood or 7 miles to the southeast of Marble Falls, moving away from Marble Falls and moving to the east. They got this one moving due east at 35 miles per hour. So let's do a storm track. Let's get a timeline on when this is going to impact our area. I'll adjust the forward motion on there. We'll do a big storm track just like this. That way we are in the know what's happening. So Smithwick moving in right now. Smithwick, Spicewood, safe place now. Now. Jonestown, 6:05. Potential for a tornado in Jonestown at 6:05. Leander, potential for a tornado at 6:13. Right there in the 6:10 to 6:15 time frame for Lakeline Mall, Cedar Park, okay? Wake up your friends, wake up your family members. I got friends and family in that part of the county. Whenever I hand it back over to Hunter, I'm going to give him a call. But this is that thunderstorm moving off to the east at 35 miles per hour, capable of producing a tornado here early this morning. What we're watching is rotation here. We have seen at times multiple little vortices being picked up on Doppler radar. Weather Service said at one time there could have been 2 tornadoes on the ground. The other thing that we have seen with this storm, and the reason why I've got urgency to you to get people to a safe spot, is multiple times we have seen on Doppler radar evidence of debris being picked up by a tornado and being spinned up into the atmosphere. Debris lofted on our correlation coefficient. And while we talk about that, let's go to it. It's a fancy word, but it's a debris detector. It's amazing technology that allows us to do something that we weren't able to do when my career started here at KVUE 10 years ago, okay? So that's not showing up at the moment, but that's not to say it won't happen once again. Let's clear out all of the radar, all of the mess. We'll zoom in. That way we know who's included in this tornado warning. Liberty Hill, Leander. If you live along 183 or 183A, you're included. Down to Cedar Park, down to Lakeline Mall, 183-45 interchange. Lago Vista. And if you live out here, there's a lot of homes out here, right? Out here in the northwest corner of Travis County. You got to get to the safe spot. You live out here to the south and southwest of Liberty Hill. Got to get to a safe spot. Jonestown, again, you're included, okay? There you see some of the roads popping up. You know where I'm talking about. Crystal Falls Parkway, Lakeline Mall, Cedar Park, 183, 183A, up here towards the 29 and 183 interchange in southwestern sections of Williamson County. So there you go, back to Doppler radar. Let's go and investigate this thunderstorm, see what's going on. We'll get rid of the lightning so we can have the cleanest look as possible. And just looking at reflectivity, you've got that warm, humid air coming in like that. You got the rear flank downdraft, the strong winds coming like that. There's a new scan. So you get that rotation beginning to pull away now, it appears, from Spicewood. Okay, so that's good. But if you live north of Spicewood, Crowley Springs is right here. Okay, you know where I'm talking about. If you're in this part of Burnett County, this is going to be north of 71, but rotation right around Crowley Springs and just to the south of Smithwick, about to cross over into western Travis County, kind of right along Lake Travis here. Of course, it's Lake Marble Falls here, passes Starkey Dam, and now it's Lake Travis, and that's moving into western Travis County at 35 miles per hour to the due east. So let's do another storm track on this. Just a second, let me redo that. I'm just going to do a big storm track, right? Want to make sure as many people as possible are in the know. So where the rotation is, Lago Vista at 5:57, so less than 10 minutes, or about 10 minutes. Jonestown at 6:04, Leander at 6:11, Cedar Park at 6:14, Lakeline Mall at 6:17. Time to get to that safe spot. Wake up the kids. Tell them the Easter Bunny came last night, but before we get to the chocolate bunny, we got to get to that safe spot. And I'm telling you, as long as you are in that area of your home that just doesn't have windows and you're on the first floor, you're going to be fine, okay? I know these days, these mornings can bring a lot of anxiety. Let me bring down that anxiety. You go to that safe spot, you're going to be A-okay. 30 minutes from now, we're going to kick off our great Sunday. Our afternoon's going to be sunny, west wind, dry air. It's going to be beautiful this afternoon. Just here over the next 20 minutes, let's get to a safe spot, and we're going to be just fine. All right, we've done this dozens of times, and if I can help bring down the anxiety a little bit, I'm going to do it. The good news, if you're watching me from the city of Austin, at least from central Austin southward, it appears at this point the worst of this weather is going to stay to the north of us. Now, that being said, if you're watching me from Round Rock, if you're watching me from Georgetown, if you're watching me from Hutto and Taylor, Granger, Jarrell, Sun City, Florence, and Dice, you need to be weather aware. This thunderstorm is moving right now, focusing out of Spicewood and moving into western Travis County, but it will be tracking, at least where the rotation is, tracking into portions of southwestern Williamson County. That's why Leander and Cedar Park and Lakeline Mall at the 183-45 interchange are included in this warning. So we're on alert in Williamson County. We're talking from Liberty Hill out towards Thrall, okay? Travis County, we're watching the weather, but we're not as concerned Austin southward. That includes down into Hayes County. And just to show you, let's look at the big perspective. Notice how we've got tornado warnings, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings, but it's focused to the northwest of Austin and moving off towards the east. So we like to see that. We don't like to see it for our friends that are being impacted right now, but the least amount of people possible that have to deal with bad weather this morning is going to be best. So we're back to our tornado warning. We do also have that severe thunderstorm warning. Let me just pop that up. That's in effect. It's a baby severe thunderstorm warning. This includes Bertram in Burnett County. Severe thunderstorm warning to account for wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour on the northern fringe of that supercell. Let's zoom back in because we got a few new scans on both reflectivity and the velocity. And there you go. We've been talking all night, donut hose. Right there, you can see that weakness. That's where a tornado could be. And keep your eye right there. Let's change over to velocity. And there you go. There you see that rotation right here in the atmosphere. And we'll zoom in. Let's zoom in. This is going to be passing away from Spicewood and Smithwick. So I'll say it again if you're still up with me this morning. Marble Falls, Granite Shoals, Kingsland, Horseshoe Bay, now Spicewood and Smithwick. The severe weather risk, the tornado risk is moving away from you. You're good. Thank you for going to the safe place. I hope everyone's safe and we got no damage. Now that severe weather threat and that tornado threat entering western Travis County and now Lago Vista and eventually Leander, Cedar Park, Lakeline Mall, also Jonestown, safe place now, okay? This is a storm that's headed in your direction. Got some intense winds. I'm going to look at a few different radars here just to get our bearings straight on what's going on. Looks like we see Hunter, can you turn on Hunter's microphone, please? It looks like we have less rotation but more straight line wind at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like the wind is almost elongated a little bit along that back edge. So, right, I mean, when we talk about tornadoes, obviously this is a tornado warning. You can have stronger localized wind, or you can have a storm with maybe slightly weaker winds, but it's a broader area and can impact more people.
Yeah, there you see it. It's moving quickly, too. East at 55 miles per hour, if I've got that correct. Yeah, east at 35, excuse me. East at 35 miles per hour. Looks like the forward speed has slowed down just a bit. Briarcliff, you are not included in this tornado warning, but I'd be ready for wind gusts at least 50 miles per hour, all right? Lakeway, at this point, it looks like the worst is going to stay to the north of you, but even you could get some wind gusts approaching 50 miles per hour as the storm passes to the north of you. And there you see the city of Austin. You're in good shape right now from this particular thunderstorm. So 2 warnings on the map right now. We've got that tornado warning right now, northwestern Travis County, southwestern Williamson County. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning for the Bertram area up in Burnett County. And we have a tornado watch that remains in effect until 8 a.m., so a little over 3 hours from now. This activity is going to be, I think, out of the viewing area before then. And let's just take a look. We're going to keep on this tornado warning. It's kind of moving in kind of a rural area of Travis County. We'll come back to it. Trust me. Let's just take a look. Forecast model. Want to look at a couple because this helps me too. Severe weather to the north, passing to the north, and moving on out. So by 8:30, we're in good shape. I'm going to load one other one, our in-house model. Yeah, look at that. See? Different models, but same solution. Heaviest stuff to the north, passing to the north of Austin. We like to see that. One more model. This one's been out to lunch all morning long, so we're not even going to look at it. And then we'll come back and look at this. So I'm not going to give you the all clear yet, but I'm feeling more and more comfortable about Austin missing out. We're going to watch it, though. Let's give it another 30 minutes. Feeling really confident about Hays County. Hill Country, Mason, Llano, Gillespie County, your severe weather threat has come to an end. We still got to watch out for severe weather in eastern Burnett County. Blanco County, I'm about to give you the all clear from even a severe weather threat. The tornado threat, though, is definitely over for Blanco County, and the tornado threat has come to an end for also Burnett County. So again, my friends in Marble Falls and Horseshoe Bay and Granite Shoals, Kingsland, you all are good, but the tornado warning does continue here in northwestern Travis County. With this mean storm that has been a pain in the neck for the last several hours and has had a tornado warning on it for the duration of its life, for the most part, going all the way back into Gillespie County. So just looking at the signature on Doppler radar, one thing that I'm watching is you're still getting air wrapping in like this, but less of that now. And look at this, you're seeing more air blowing out like that. So right in here, you could have some downdraft winds going out and ahead of the thunderstorm, 60 plus miles per hour. Okay, still got to keep an eye on rotation up in here. And let's just, yeah, you still got tight rotation. So at this point, the tightest rotation is going to be north of Lago Vista. And Lago Vista, I'm hopeful that the tight rotation is going to stay to the north of you, at least where a tornado will be possible. But notice these turquoise colors right in here, about 4 miles to the west of Lago. You can get some wind gusts there, 60 plus miles per hour. So you may miss the tight rotation, but you get these what we call rear flank downdraft winds, these intense winds coming on in with this thunderstorm. So we'll watch that. Let's just kind of back this up to kind of see its motion, like so. And there's the latest scan, and that's the best scan that we've seen in a half hour. I'm not seeing that tight rotation. This thunderstorm, though, has been going through cycles where we lose the rotation, and then we see it again, and we lose it. So let's not put our guard down just yet. But if this continues, maybe the Weather Service will get rid of this warning. So that's probably, again, the best scan that I've seen. Tornado warning, though, does continue. So I want you to stay in your safe spot in the warned area, Leander, Cedar Park, Lakeline Mall, Lago Vista, Jonestown, just to be on the safe side, right? This is a tornado warning until 6:15. Let's see if the National Weather Service has got anything new from us. No. Okay, that's good. Also, just in that severe thunderstorm warning that was up in Burnett County, that included Bertram, that has been canceled. So right now we only have one active warning, and it's this tornado warning that remains in effect for the next 20 minutes with this thunderstorm moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. It's been a little bit since we've done a storm track. Let's do a storm track where the most intense winds and possible rotation is, having it move its way to the east. And there's a look at some cities. 602 Lago Vista, 607 Jonestown, Leander at 613, Valente at 615, Cedar Park at 617, Lakeline Mall at 622, Anderson Mill at 624. Potential for tornado, potential for straight line wind damage, okay? They have that tornado warning continue. Let's see, they got it moved. Actually, I'm going to readjust this because they just posted an update. They now have the forward speed, and on that last scan, Hunter, it's wrapping up again. Let's look at that in a second. But let's just do a new storm track. They've got it moving east now at 40, picking up speed just a bit. So that means it's going to arrive a little bit earlier. Lago Vista here in, you could have some straight line winds in about 3 minutes or less, okay? Could have some wind gusts, possible up to 60 miles per hour. Lago Vista, though, it looks like the main rotation is north of you. And there's the other locations sped up maybe 1 or 2 minutes with that forward speed going up just a bit to 40 miles per hour. So on that last scan, this guy's spinning up again. You can see it here. We've got that hook developing. You've got air wrapping like this. You've got air coming in like that. So that gives you rotation. Let's see if we see that corresponding on the velocity side. And yeah, we've got that rotation. You can see it here from storm relative. This takes out the forward motion and kind of cleans up a little bit. But like we were saying, there you go. Rotation in this thunderstorm, just a few miles to the north, 3 miles to the north of Lago Vista, passing to the north of Lago Vista. Jonestown, 3 miles off towards the west of you. So if you're in Jonestown, especially if you live to the north, let's see if we can put some streets here so we can get some people to know what's going on. So Lindman Lane, Pack Saddle Road, that part of Travis County, the Jonestown area, you'll have a Jonestown mailing address that and points up towards the north. This is where we have a potential tornado on the ground. Let's go back to our debris detector. I'm not seeing it right now. That's good. Go back to our radar. Radar signature, though, starting to ramp up again. Starting to see that signs of air increasing like so, air blowing out like so. And out here, coming into Lago Vista, right here, this is where you can have that straight line wind. You can have wind gusts, again, 60 plus miles per hour, even though the rotation's up in here. And you can see the movement is off to the east. So Leander, Whitestone area, Cedar Park, Lakeline, you got to watch this one as it continues to move off towards the east. I'm going to slow this down and do a loop. That way we can kind of see the motion of this. We'll drop those arrows. And there you see it kind of spinning on in, coming on into that northwestern Travis County, spinning to the north of Lago Vista, and back off towards northwest of Jonestown. But still, Hunter, still an aggressive thunderstorm, still one that could be producing a tornado right now, and that's why that tornado warning continues. And that's why we continue here on the digital and TV side. Hunter, by the way, has been here since 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, so you get to work here for at least one more week. Good job.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Albert. I think you're right, though, about outside of the tighter circulation where we have this flank of stronger winds developing kind of south of the circulation. So even though that's not necessarily a tight couplet, the straight line winds there, I mean, that could be moving towards or through the Lago Vista area right now. Those could be some pretty gusty straight line winds that we'll need to keep an eye on. So back to the reflectivity, which continues to look, at least on the reflectivity, looking pretty tight. But let's do another storm track on the core of the winds here. They say this is moving at 35 or 40, Albert. What was the movement again?
It's moving out 40. John, can we go to max 3? We're still on max.
I think we got.
Oh, you are.
I think
Sorry
we got it
about
right. We got it right. Yeah. So here's the storm track on. We'll include the circulation and then some of those stronger winds just to the south. So Jonestown that we've been talking about, matter of minutes. Leander, I'll be watching this too. Showing an arrival time about 6:10. Lakeline Mall 6:15. And now we're going to start to get out of the warning. But kind of further down the line, Round Rock is not in the tornado warning. But given the movement, if this storm does hold together, this could make it into the Round Rock area maybe prior to 6:30. Del Diamond showing about 6:30. Hutto 6:38, 6:49 for Taylor. As this continues to move just to the north of due east here. Let's see what the velocity is doing. And this has been one of those storms that's just, you're not really going to get a clean couplet on it. Clearly, this is a storm that's rotating, but it's going to quickly go through cycles. And frankly, by the time we get to the velocity image and we're able to analyze it, the storm may have already changed and the structure could be different. So this is especially a storm where anywhere inside of this tornado warning polygon, just make sure you're sheltered, because given how fast this is cycling through different storm structures, it's going to be very difficult to pinpoint where exactly the tightest rotation is. But we can still tell you, for places like Lakeline Mall, up to Leander on the north end, you're within this tornado warning. And this is going to continue. Let's actually do the auto warn here. This is going to continue through 6:15, so another 15 minutes on this. And Albert, I'll tell you what, even though the velocity is still kind of messy, the reflectivity still looks strong. It's got the structure where the inflow can still be healthy, and it's definitely still trying to spin.
Yeah, and that's why that tornado warning continues. So I was just looking at some comments on Facebook Live of a nice lady who's sheltered in place in her closet in Leander. Stay there. You can see this thunderstorm a few miles back off towards the west of Leander. And as Hunter mentioned, from a structural standpoint, when we look at with thunderstorms that could produce tornadoes, we're still seeing that. Even though the rotation within it may be at this point a bit weaker than it was a couple of minutes ago, we want to watch it, because this thunderstorm has gone through multiple, I would say about 10 different cycles since we've been tracking it over the last 2 hours, and it could certainly cycle up once again. So if you're just now joining us, it is 2 minutes after 6 a.m. on this Easter Sunday. I'm KVUE Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon with Hunter Williams here in the KVUE Storm Center, and what we're tracking is severe weather this morning, mainly focused in northwestern Travis County, southwestern Williamson County, an active tornado warning. It's the only warning that's in place right now, but it's moving in a very highly populated area, and that's why we're not only here on TV, but we're streaming right now on all of our digital platforms, the app, the web, the YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, just in case if you do lose power, we're able to still communicate with you. So here's a look at the thunderstorm that we have been tracking for a couple of hours, starting in the hill country, and we've had a tornado warning with it really since it moved into the viewing area. We have had signs on Doppler radar earlier this morning of debris being thrown up from a tornado, it appears, in Willow City, in the Fredericksburg area, and then eventually not too far from Round Mountain, we saw that signature as well. We even at one point with a history of the storm, just to give you an idea how wacky the storm has been, had 2 areas of spin. National Weather Service saying it's very possible that at one point it was producing 2 tornadoes at the same time. So right now, areas included in this tornado warning: Liberty Hill, although it looks like the best rotation will be south of Liberty Hill, but Leander and Cedar Park, you have to be in your safe spot right now, along with Jonestown. Lago Vista, if you're watching from Lago Vista, that intense spin is passing to the north of you, but you're probably dealing with some gusty winds, or at least you did over the last several minutes with the rear flank downdraft, the downdraft of this thunderstorm moving on in, now approaching Valente right now. Valente is also included in this tornado warning, but I think you're probably going to get straight line winds and not rotation. Pretty messy on the velocity scan. You're right, Hunter. We'll clean it up, and I'll show you our latest shear product. This is a product that kind of hones in on where we have the maximum rotation upward in the atmosphere. And you can see it here in northwestern Travis County. Let's zoom in, passing to the north of Lago Vista, and focus very close to Jonestown. So again, Jonestown, you've got to be in your safe spot right now. Lowest part of your home, center part of your home, as many walls between you and the outside, and a room with no windows. Now approaching even more populated area here in the Leander Cedar Park section of Williamson County. So this is where we have that rotation over Jonestown and maybe just a few miles back off towards the east of Jonestown and approaching the Cedar Park area. So Leander, those that live along, a lot of people live here, 183, 183A, right? There's New Hope Drive, there's Crystal Falls Parkway, here's Lakeline Mall. We want everyone there, all those locations I just mentioned, to get to that safe spot. And this is going to pass next 10, 15 minutes, and you're going to be good. Now looking upstream, because we could see this warning extended. I don't think, I haven't seen anything new from the Weather Service on that, but we could see it extended. And if we do, we want to give the early heads up to Georgetown, to Round Rock, especially if you live off towards the west of Interstate I-35, okay? So this is where we have this tornadic storm right now, has had the history, we believe, using technology of producing multiple touchdowns. Now moving into southwestern, western sections of Williamson County. Liberty Hill, you are included in this polygon, this warning, but again, that rotation is to the south of you, and really the heaviest rainfall is going to be the south of you as well, passing to the south. This is well to the north of Austin. Let's zoom out, get your bearings straight. This is the only severe storm that we are dealing with right now, and we've been talking about the last hour and a half. We've been hopeful that this guy would steer to the north of Austin, and that seems to be the case. Unfortunately, Williamson County now is going to get the brunt of this thunderstorm as it's moving in right now. We still have intense winds, rain, and the potential for a tornado in northwestern Travis County, but that will be moving into Williamson County in less than 5 minutes. That is the only storm on the map, and notice its movement is to the east, so it's going to track over the entire county of Williamson, okay? So that's where we want everyone to be on alert with this thunderstorm as it continues to move off towards the east, and eventually Milam County. It's something that we want to be paying close attention to as well. Where there's not a warning, intense rainfall up here moving into Gerald. Gerald, you're good. Let's take a look at Hail Tracker. It's just heavy rainfall. We'll take a look at Doppler winds, see if we see any rotation. I don't even really see that heavy of winds as well. So there we go. Hunter, I see this wrapping up once again. We've got rotation just a few miles from 183. Let me get my measuring tool here. So we're talking 3 2 miles from 183, 3 miles from 183A, and moving off towards the east. So a tornado could be on the ground. Let's get in here and we'll list some areas of interest. If you live around the Winkley Elementary School, Veterans Memorial Park, Blockhouse Creek Elementary School, and then on the other side of 183A, Florence Stiles Middle School, or Stiles Middle School, you have to get to a safe place, especially Leander to Cedar Park. You can see where that rotation has been. Let's clean it up and show you the shear. May have weakened just a bit, but still seeing that detected on Doppler radar approaching 183 right now in southwestern areas of Williamson County. Take a look at Doppler debris detector, not seeing anything there. And last couple of minutes, we see that rotation and then it disappears. So that's why we're just tracking with you this with you minute by minute. You have still air coming in like that, strong winds coming in like that, all the way down to Lago Vista, and then that's where you have the rotation right there. There was a new scan, it's kind of Doppler radar missing a little bit of data. Let's change this over to the Granger site. That's what we should be using anyway, because it's closer to it. Yeah, that's just a cleaner looking radar. So again, winds. Warm, humid winds like that, winds coming in like that, and this is where you get that rotation in the atmosphere, kind of right in here. So safe spot, keep repeating myself, but I'm looking at, even the Facebook Live, there's about 800 people watching more now than 5 minutes ago. So when we say safe spot, it's just got to be a room with no windows. No garage, though. I know that your garage likely doesn't have windows, but definitely not the garage. It's going to be a bathroom and pantry, closet. As long as it doesn't have windows, you're going to be in good shape. And once this passes, your Easter Sundays beyond this is going to be A-OK. Georgetown, Round Rock, you're going to be up next. Let's watch this real closely. And then Hutto, we're going to be watching this. Granger, we're going to be watching this. If you live along the 130 toll road from I-35 north of Georgetown to the 79 exit, you got to watch this really carefully as well. Let's get back to street level mapping. We'll show you the neighborhoods that this potential tornado could be in right now. And there you see that weakness in the radar kind of right in here. This is where you could have that tornado. So we're talking about Mason Creek Park. If you live in these streets around Mason Creek Park, you're not going to be able to see anything. Don't be looking out the window, try to go out in the driveway. It's going to be rain wrapped. You got to get to that safe spot right this moment. Robert Bedsell Park, Williamson County Academy, and we'll be crossing 183 in about 2 minutes, if not less, all right? So that's what we're tracking right now. Let's do a storm track on this. We still got some city streets on there that you can kind of get your bearing straight. We've got potential tornado right here, moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. No communities there, but you get the idea that probably in less than 5 minutes, it's going to be crossing Ronald Reagan Boulevard and then be moving closer to the west side of Round Rock. I have a feeling that they may continue this warning. So 6:05, that's 5 minutes. They were going to see if they were going to continue this warning, and I'm not getting any indication that they will or will not. I'm thinking they probably will, just based on those last couple of radar scans. So this is in effect for the next 5 minutes, so we'll see what they do here in about 4 minutes. But we don't need a red flashing box to get us into a safe spot. So Georgetown, I-35, Round Rock, and points off towards the west. Get in your safe spot now, okay? Let's just play it safe. Why not? Because we've got all the information we need from Doppler radar and from Doppler winds of rotating winds with this potential tornado. We've had, well, quite a bit of Doppler indicated debris being tossed up. Getting a comment, any reports of an actual tornado? No. And here's the main reason. These storms have been rain wrapped, meaning that if there was a tornado on the ground, you wouldn't be able to see it anyway because it's just shrouded by rain like you're seeing right there. Number two, it's been dark. We've had some damage reports in Llano County near the Castile area, home with a roof blown off. Those are some early reports that are coming on in. Reports of any kind of damage are slow to come in situations like that, especially it being dark and a holiday. So give us some time, but we got to trust technology in a situation like that, all right? The Weather Service does not issue tornado warnings willy-nilly. They're only going to do it when there is strong evidence of it happening. So intense rain, intense wind now, Leander, Whitestone, to just north of Cedar Park. The heaviest about 3 miles to the north of Lakeline Mall. But if you're in Lakeline Mall, you're going to notice the rain picking up shortly with this stuff coming in out of the west. Also, Sun City to Andice to now moving into Gerald. Intense rain, gusty winds, but non-severe. No hail up in that part of the county. But you can see how Williamson County is just going to get hard from the west to the I-35 corridor and back off to the east. Looks like on the last scan here that this may be producing some straight line winds now. So anytime you start to see this signature on Doppler radar, I'll draw it for you. You start to get kind of a bow. Looks like the bow of a bow and echo. A bow of a bow and arrow. That's straight line wind potential. So we may see the tornado threat go down. That would be good news, but may see the severe weather threat as far as damaging winds go up, straight line winds going up. And Doppler radar is picking up some intense winds here along 183 and 183A. So let's see what the National Weather Service decides to do. And the good news is they have expired the tornado warning. They've expired that tornado warning. You'll see the polygon drop here in a couple of seconds. And we'll see if they reissue it. Okay, good. So I'm just reading the latest from the Weather Service about a minute ago. They're letting the tornado warning expire. You'll see that red box disappear in a minute and 15 seconds. They're also at this point not going to reissue a severe thunderstorm warning. So it's a strong storm, they're saying, for sure. They're writing up some information on that. As a matter of fact, it is here right now. Let's see if they've changed the forward speed. So here's the good news. Tornado warning has expired, and no reissuance of the tornado warning and no reissuance of even a severe thunderstorm warning. It is still a strong storm, could be producing wind gusts to 40 miles per hour, and it's moving off to the east at 35 miles per hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the polygon off myself because it has expired, and we'll just take a look at this thunderstorm. So that's the good news. If you were watching me in Leander, Cedar Park, Jonestown, the Lakeline Mall area, and I told you, safe spot, you're good. You're in the clear. It's stormy outside, yes, but you're good. You can come out of that safe spot and go on about your day. Could we see an additional warning issued? Sure. That's what we've seen, the last few hours. Pulse is down, pulse is back up, but you're in the clear now. You can come out of your safe spot, and hopefully everyone's safe and sound. On the leading edge of this thunderstorm, right in here, could have those wind gusts again around 40 miles per hour. There you see the intense lightning. But the good news with this particular storm, and even this activity that's developing kind of here towards the southwest of the storm over the Lake Travis area, getting closer to the oasis, is it is now encountering a little bit more stable environment. The sun is going to start to come up soon, starting to come up, as a matter of fact. Well, not quite yet, but it's going to soon. And we're still losing that daytime heating from yesterday, and a cooler atmosphere allows for a more stable atmosphere. Okay, so that's the good news. With these thunderstorms, hopefully we continue to see the trend of them weakening. Let's zoom out, and I'll show you the forecast model. And John in the control room, if we don't have any additional warnings at 6:20, we'll send it to Good Morning America, okay? So let's hang out for 4 more minutes, everybody, just to kind of do a recap here, and then we'll send you to Weekend GMA, and then we'll continue on the digital side for a little bit longer. So you can continue to watch us on the KVUE app, KVUE.com, YouTube, Facebook. But that's been the trend. Notice, let me back this up. Got those intense storms to the north in Williamson County, passing into Milam County during the 8 o'clock hour, and then by 9, we're in the clear. And we've got a nice Easter Sunday afternoon on tap. There's some showers out here in the hill country. Those aren't going to be severe. These are moving into an environment that's already been stabilized. And I'm really happy to report that these thunderstorms currently in Williamson County approaching I-35 are strong but not severe. 40-mile-per-hour winds, and that's about it. Maria Rivas is watching from Lakeline Mall area. All clear for you all. Hope everyone's safe. Okay, I'm just looking at other comments, see if we get any storm reports, and we're in good shape right now, and that's good. So we'll send it to GMA in about 3 minutes. Let's just do a recap of what we got going on in Williamson County. Heavy rain, thunder, gusty winds, but below severe weather limits in Jarrell. That thunderstorm moving off towards the east will be making its way towards Cornhill and Granger. Thunderstorm on your doorstep, Georgetown. If you live in the western sections of Georgetown, west of the city, out a little bit closer to the airport, Sun City, heavy rain, lightning, 29 is pouring right now, but it's not severe. Let's look at hail tracker. There's no hail. Let's take a look at Doppler winds from a different sources. We'll look at the shear product. We're in good shape. So that's good. This is all good news right now. We can deal with rain, and it's moving. It's not like it's sticking around. Round Rock, we still have these thunderstorms, but they are weakening, and they're about 6 miles, 5 to 6 miles away from I-35. Let's do the same thing. Hail tracker, we're good. Let's take a look at our velocity scans. And in here, on our Doppler winds, pulling away from 183A and moving into the west side of Round Rock, this is where you can get those wind gusts 40 to maybe 45 miles per hour, okay? Those are below severe weather limits. Let's come on down to Lakeline Mall area, into northwestern Travis County, to the lake. We've got some pouring rain right now out at the Oasis, but non-severe. Take a look at hail tracker. No problems there. We'll take a look at Doppler winds. Maybe some wind gusts also within that thunderstorm, 30 to 35 miles per hour. But we are in much better shape, everybody, than we were 30 minutes ago, even an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. There's a look at the radar loop. It's going to be moving from west to east, clipping northern sections of Travis County, getting some rain, moving into North Austin next 5 to 10 minutes. Domain next 15 to 20 minutes. Northeast Austin, 20, 25 minutes. About 30 minutes away, Pflugerville. Manor, you may get a quick passing shower. Heavier downpours up in Williamson County. That's going to be moving into Milam County. We're going to be on the lookout for additional warnings because it's still possible, right? And that's why that tornado watch remains in effect in yellow until 8 a.m. So we are on standby here on KVUE. We are going to continue our coverage on the digital side, so you can watch us on your tablet, on your smartphone, or your smart TV. But for now, we're going to send you to Good Morning America. We will keep you updated with information at the bottom of the screen. Pictures, videos, send them to us, text them to us at 459-9442. Have a great Easter. We're going to have a beautiful afternoon. Be safe. We'll see you soon. Okay, so we continue our coverage here on the digital side. We sent our friends in TV land back to programming, and here we are, hanging out with you, the cool kids, the digital savvy kids. So you know what? I'm feeling more relieved now than I have in 3 hours. We got some thunderstorms. They're non-severe right now. We're going to watch them for you. We're going to hang out and keep an eye on them for you. Could you check in with, hold on one second, everybody. Nope, you're fine. You're fine. Okay, just a little housekeeping, behind the scenes housekeeping. But we'll watch these storms together, and if we get any more rotation, we'll let you know. Hunter has, again, been here since yesterday afternoon. So, Hunter, if you want to give us the old deuce and say goodnight.
I might do that.
You can do it. You've earned yourself a number 2 at Whataburger. You're going to be good. No, I'm good right now. Thank you. So, no active warnings or anything, everybody. We're just going to hang out for a little bit longer. Vanessa saying that storm was intense, a lot of ups and downs. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. While we have a break here, let's go back and zoom out and let's look at storm reports and see what we got. And I'm telling you, everybody, if we can get through this morning with just a handful of storm reports, we're going to be in good shape. We can be really thankful for that on this Easter Sunday. So this storm report came out earlier this morning when these thunderstorms were rolling through Llano County. Reports of power lines down near Castile and a roof ripped off a house a few miles east of Castile on Ranch Road 152. Yeah, that was a severe storm that is now up in northern Bell County and moving through Temple. That's that one storm, not the storm that had turned tornadic. That was more down towards the south. So Melinda, there are no active warnings right now. There is no active tornado warning. Thank goodness that has been dropped. We do have a tornado watch in effect, meaning that a tornado will be possible over the next couple hours. 2 hours and 30 minutes is when that tornado watch will be expired. And John, in the control room, I'm using the vMix computer now. So if you need to set up your board for the 7 a.m. show, we're good. And I'll holler at you if we need to jump back on TV, but I'm hopeful that we won't have to do that. Shannon says, you know how Travis County makes a heart? Yep. We're at the tip of the heart, and we're getting parts of the storm. Okay. Yep, you're there in northwestern Travis County. Zoom in and take a look. Got some downpours moving on through. Let me load our camera, a few cameras that may be encountering some of this rain. There's a look at the Concordia camera. We're in good shape there. Let's load the Oasis camera. Hang with me for a second. I think Oasis is here. Yeah, it's still dark, so we won't be able to see much. Just some raindrops on the camera lens. If you're curious to see how our temperatures are doing, we are in the low 60s in parts of the hill country. We're still at 74 here in Austin with that little shower activity coming in. The other thing that you watch, we kind of mentioned this a few minutes ago, well, probably more than a few minutes ago, but you notice we don't have any lightning with this stuff out in western Travis County, so it's just garden variety showers. Those tops of those showers are not high enough in the atmosphere to mix in with some ice to get a charge going to create cloud of ground lightning. So that's out towards the west, and that will be passing 620 right now, 620 area, 360 in about 2 to 5 minutes, and then Mopac here in about 10 minutes. I-35 here in Travis County, maybe 15 minutes. And then that will continue to move off towards the east. Heavier downpours just north of Round Rock, kind of around the IKEA and all those car dealerships south of Georgetown, north of Round Rock. Got some heavy downpours there. Let's just take a look at hail tracker. There's no hail. Take a look at our shear product. There's no rotation like we saw. So we're doing good. This thunderstorm up here in Bell County, this one could be producing some gusty winds, maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour. This is going to be southwestern Bell County moving into Milam County, so we'll keep an eye on that. Could we have a couple of more warnings? I mean, it's not out of the question, but as these storms continue to press off towards the east, again, our atmosphere is cooling. Our atmosphere is a lot more stable now than it was just a few hours ago, and we're going to be okay. Okay. Tornado watch continues. We'll see if we get trimmed out of this watch sooner than 8 o'clock. That'd be nice. Nothing new from the Weather Service. And still, the only storm report that I have is the one out in Llano County around Castile. You can see the little icon right here. And that is a storm report of power lines down near Castile, as well as a roof rift. Oh wow! It is 6:26 in the morning. A roof ripped off a house. You can read. You can read it. Wow! But that's the only damage report that we have right now. Earlier in the morning, we were talking about that tornado warning that we're tracking for a long time that came out of Gillespie County and then into Blanco County and eventually into Travis County. We had indications of debris being lofted. We have not had any damage reports from that. That's the good news, okay? And let's see if we can actually reload that, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's see if we've got enough data to go back in time, and I'll show you what we are. Yeah. So we go back to right here. So we go back to 4:51 this morning, And I'll show you when it really got just cranked up with the intensity. So you see Fredericksburg there on the left side of your screen, Willow City areas in here. This is in Gillespie County, and this weakness on the Doppler radar, on the correlation coefficient or debris detector, if you will, was detecting debris along with tight rotation on the velocity side. And if you just follow that little guy right there, that shows you that potential for debris crossing over into northwest corner of Blanco County, and then it kind of disappeared for a little bit, and then we saw it reappear. Let's kind of go back in here. So now we're at 521. We saw it reappear kind of right in here, south of 71 at 536, as it was getting a little bit closer to Spicewood. Crossed the interstate, didn't see it as pronounced anymore, and let's see what that is. We're going to change this over. This is 553. We'll change this over to velocity scan. Let's see if we can go back to 553. Yeah, so that was another debris signature there in western Travis County on the correlation coefficient. It matched up with the velocity scan. So this particular supercell thunderstorm could have produced multiple touchdowns. And on days like today, especially in rural areas, it does take some time for some damage reports, if there were any, to get back to us. Hopefully there weren't, but just know that the technology was picking that up. So let's get back into what's going on right now. No warnings, no advisories. We're good. We just got some heavy downpours coming into West Austin. 620 area, moving closer to 360. Rain in Round Rock is starting to pick up, especially just north of Round Rock. Got a good amount of lightning and thunder. This is what's left over of the supercell that produced all those tornado warnings. It's not right now, and just to double check if there's any kind of rotation, no, we are good. And that's moving off towards the east and could allow for some gusty winds. If you heard my phone go off, that was a new little special weather statement. Yeah, they've got this moving east at 40 miles per hour, half-inch size hail, 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts still possible with this storm moving away from the I-35 corridor, moving closer to Weir, Cornhill, moving away from Gerald. Conditions improving in Gerald right now. Granger, and if you live Bartlett to Granger along 95, it's going to get a little bit more on the stormy side. Hutto, we don't forget about Hutto. You'll get this tail end stuff. So rumbles of thunder, moderate to heavy downpours, but it'll pass pretty quickly. Taylor, same thing. And then that'll eventually wrap into Milam County. And then, Hayes County, other than a sprinkle, you all may not get anything out of this. This may just stay in Travis County. We'll see if this little line extends a little bit, but I'm not, thinking we're going to see anything explode up anymore. And I mentioned here in my Facebook Live yesterday that as these storms got closer to the interstate, they would weaken, and thankfully that is coming true. And the heaviest part of really these thunderstorms is about to spin out of the viewing area. Well, it's already in Bell County and clipping Milam County, and that's going to be about it. So that's what we're doing right now. It is 6:30. We still have 940 people watching. Golden Girls isn't on right now? What are you watching me for? No, I appreciate you watching. I can joke now because, gosh, I tell you, I'm so relieved that the severe weather threat is trending downward. Thank goodness. Tracy, let's see, Tracy, tornado warning expired, we are good. That's right, tornado warning expired. We got no active warnings. We got a tornado watch that remains in effect until 8 o'clock. But I think some of our counties are going to get trimmed out of that. Oh, look at this. Some counties have already been trimmed out. Hunter, thank you for your help today.
Yeah, no problem.
Get some sleep. We'll talk to you later. Tornado watch canceled for Blanco, Burnett, Gillespie, Llano County. So this will get trimmed out soon. These counties here out towards the west will get trimmed out soon. I may be able to actually, since that came from the Weather Service. There you go. So the tornado watch does continue just for a little bit longer because we still have some showers in the metro. Does continue for Hayes, Travis, Williamson, Milam, Lee, Bastrop, Caldwell County. I think very, very soon, Hayes and Travis and Caldwell County are going to get removed out of that. And within probably the next hour, the rest of us will be removed out of it as well. So that's good. Vanessa, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly where you can see that as well. Shannon says, appreciate you going live. You're welcome. Yeah, Christopher, up there in Sam Bass area, pretty decent thunderstorms, but not as aggressive as they were in the hill country. So good. Another scan of Doppler radar. Is that Jason Michael? Hey, Jason, if you need me to jump off of Max 1, you let me know. Okay. Good morning.
How's it work on TV?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's right there. I'd wipe it down and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you. Not that any of us are sick, but, got to practice what we preach. Yeah, Shelley, there are no warnings, correct. There are no warnings. Warnings meaning that either a tornado or severe thunderstorm is happening now, but you remain under that watch. We're just on the lookout. That's what we're doing right now. We're just watching these radar scans because our atmosphere earlier this morning, up until 30 minutes ago, had enough energy to produce rotating thunderstorms. So we're on watch. So tornado watch remains in effect, metro eastward, but there's no warnings right now, and that's good. Hey, Kristen, how are you? Kristen's watching from Pflugerville. Yes, so you'll get a few showers. It's not going to amount to a whole lot. They're still out here towards the west of the interstate. They haven't made it to Mopac yet. But yeah, Pflugerville. You'll get a quick passing little moderate shower. It's no big deal. If you hear thunder, probably from the stuff up towards the north of you. But I don't expect to see this stuff get a whole lot stronger than what it is right now. Heaviest thunderstorm for sure. Now east of I-35, moving through eastern Williamson County. Rain picking up now in Granger. Hutto, the heavy stuff is going to stay just north of you, okay? But you'll get some moderate showers move in next 10 minutes. Taylor, give it another 15, 20 minutes. But non-severe, it's just showers. No problemo. Stephanie, you got it. I promise I'll do that. Roger wants more rain in Austin. Roger, speaking of that, so it's April the 12th. Really severe weather season for us started this week, or this last week, I should say. And we are in good shape in terms of rainfall. The drought has disappeared. Our lake levels are above average. And we're about to go into the wettest, weeks of the entire year. May is historically the wettest and stormiest month out of the entire year here in Travis County. And I was telling Hunter before we went on to Facebook Live that one thing we got to be careful with is flash flooding, I think, this spring, because we're going into spring already with a surplus rainfall, no drought, lake levels are up. So not going to happen today, probably not going to happen next week, but as we get into May, and May can be wild around here, as a lot of you know, that's something we got to keep an eye on. So what we've done here tonight, where we're covering it on TV as needed, and then we're here digitally hanging out with you, we're going to be doing this a lot next 6 to 8 weeks. But that is our commitment to you. Marielle is watching. Good morning. Happy Easter, Marielle. Christopher, let's go take a look at the Williamson County radar. Yeah, nothing severe though. There's lightning, clouded ground lightning up to the north of Round Rock. Let me just get a peek at velocity real quick. Still could be some wind gusts in the 40-mile-per-hour range, but that's below severe weather limits. And there you go on the radar scan. So I think I'm going to hang out with you for 4 more minutes, and here's the reason why. Jason's got to get ready for the 7 o'clock news. So he's got you covered on TV, and because there's no active warnings or anything, I'm going to go home and go sleep. And Jason's going to take over. I'm going to hand him the baton, and he'll have updates during weekend daybreak, 7 to 9 a.m. on KVUE and streaming on the app and KVUE.com. How about that? So another 4 more minutes. Last minute questions, everybody. Let me know. The forecast, this moves out, right? Let's take a look at the hour by hour forecast. There you go. Another hour from now, lingering showers east of the interstate. So passing shower, maybe a rumble of thunder, but I don't think it's going to be severe. Bastrop, Lee, Caldwell, Fayette, Milam County, maybe some strong storms passing to the north of Cameron, north of Rockdale. That's 7:30. Let's go to the 8 o'clock hour and a half from now. Tornado watch ends. We're in the clear. Quick little sprinkle, passing shower through about mid-morning, and then the sun is out. We'll have a breezy west wind. That west wind is going to be 10 to 20 miles per hour. It's going to drop the humidity. The skies will clear. It's going to be a beautiful afternoon. The only complaint is going to be with the wind. It's going to be a little on the breezy side behind this weather system. If you're curious about the rest of the state, how everyone else is faring this morning, there is an active tornado warning out here in East Texas. We'll zoom in and take a look at it. It's going to be just off towards the east of Mejia, near Fairfield, Texas. Cayuga? If I'm not saying that right, I'd love to know how. Cayuga? That's my East Texas. So that's a severe storm capable of producing a tornado there. That's a rain-wrapped one too. Look at sheer. So this south of Corsicana, this is out in East Texas. The national story today, this afternoon, into the evening time, is going to be out here. On this Easter Sunday, send positive thoughts, prayer to our friends out in the Deep South. It is going to be a rough day. Same storm system that is going to be exiting out of our area in 90 minutes is going to be a significant severe weather producer in the Deep South. A good chunk of Louisiana, good chunk of Mississippi, good chunk of Alabama, and portions of southeastern Arkansas under a moderate risk. That's a 4 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Hail, damage winds, tornadoes, some of which could be long track, large tornadoes. So again, this is going to be the national story on this Easter Sunday, this afternoon and in the evening. If you have friends and family there, I'm sure they already know what's happening. But there's our storm system. Tail end of it passing through central Texas right now. Most aggressive part of it in East Texas. That then moves into the mid and deep south starting later this morning, and it ramps up this afternoon with daytime heating. So coming up towards 6:40, one scan of the radar, one zoom in. You can look at radar anytime at KVUE.com/radar. We've got showers moving into Austin. They are non-severe. This is a quick moving little line. We do have that tornado watch in effect until 8 a.m., but we may see our counties, especially metro counties, get trimmed out of that a little bit before then. So that does it for our coverage with no active warnings. Jason Michaels got you covered in 20 minutes on Weekend Daybreak on KVUE, and I'm going home. Sound good? Have a happy Easter, everybody, and we will see you soon. Right, Nate? I haven't seen you in like over a month. Where have you been?
I've been here.
How's that going?
Quiet.
Yeah?
Yeah, really quiet. I showed up all expecting to be alone in the studio, sitting in a nook chair, shoes off, just running promptly for 2 hours. So I was very surprised when I came and saw you all.
What are they doing here?
Like, there's people in here. There hasn't been people in here in forever.
Jason. Long time no see.